Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo, and I am here for Cyberpunk Edgerunners Episode 4. Last time on Cyberpunk Edgerunners, we got a little bit confused because I split up the comment spotlight and the thing, and I'm probably not going to do that ever again. And beyond that, last time on Cyberpunk Edgerunners, David made his case for survival and why his new spine apparatus shouldn't be ripped out of his body and stolen by these very powerful Edgerunner folks, and they actually accepted his case after discovering that his mother was friends with them, and at least partly in the business, and was somebody who they trusted, and that he's her kid. And so, over the course of the episode, David is given the chance to prove himself in one particular job, and that ends up with him in an insane car sequence where he's thrown into an event that he has no idea how to deal with, which is driving. He's totally incompetent at it, has never done it before, and he's told, "Do it, kid." And the entire time he has the incredible, elusive, magnetic feminine sitting next to him going, "Come on, bud, what are you gonna do, man?" And eventually he decides, as the words pop up in front of him, he decides that he's made of something stern and something serious, and so he takes hold of the wheel of his own life, you might say, and he begins to drive, and it goes fucking crazy, and it's an insane convoluted and incredible car chase thing that we'll talk about, I think, because there are some interesting comments about it. And eventually the job goes off semi-successfully, not really, and we end up at sort of the after party where the socialization happens. We get introduced to a bunch of the squad and a bunch of the characters, and some of them are more interesting than others, particularly a tiny girl who seems to know a lot and seems to be very interesting. And we also met, I fully have forgotten his name, Mr. Three Eyes, Mr. Eyes of Three in his big suit and his big expensive everything. And he runs shit. He is the one with the power, the source from which all of the water of life that these Edgerunners live off of flows. And he is part of the corruption of the system, but he is himself something transcendent and different and interesting. And so I'm interested to find out more about all of these things, but we move forward into episode 4 titled Lucky You, and we'll see just how lucky the luck of that episode will end up being, because, well, it seems like Night City is a place of darkness and night, and not a place where gamblers find their luck, more a place like Vegas, where people go to gamble and very few of them win and most of them end up emptied out, inside, outside, and not just in their wallets, but their very lives and souls, it seems. Having done the recap, I want to step back for a moment and say something. I'm in a relatively emotional place, and I'm a little bit scattered. And I'll put it out there exactly why. I've been expressing this via the daily brews, and I highly recommend, and I'll say again, that if you want more of me talking about stuff that I think is important, which doesn't mean that it's important, it's just me thinking that it is, you can find the daily brew morning tea. I don't really know. I'm starting to call it the brew. It's just brew. It's just brew 4, brew 5, brew 6, brew 7, and that seems to be good. And from here on out, they're going to be live streamed, and I'm going to stream them at about 10 a.m. every morning. I'm going to come online. I'm going to stream for 5 minutes to 5 hours at some discretion. I don't know. And I'm just going to talk about stuff every day. And the talks that I've been having have been really interesting. But in the last couple of brews, I talked about how I was investing myself, maybe in a risky way, more heavily into the dating market, the online dating market, and all of its insidiousness, and all of its good. And over the last couple of days, what has happened is I've rearranged my dating app profiles really significantly, and I've started having success. That is to say, matches and connections and stuff. And as I've become more successful, I have been torn to pieces emotionally by liars and the promise of something valuable, the promise of something worthwhile, the promise of connection, and the seeming desperate and real desire for connection that then turns out, in too many instances, to be just another arm of exploitation. And I keep meeting these girls who seem compelling and interesting, and they want nothing from me except my wallet. And I don't know how to deal with it. And it's really causing me some emotional distress within a couple of days. And so that, to me, is important to mention because it reflects on the events of Cyberpunk Edgerunners. And I think Imaishi and the storytellers who are telling this story in Cyberpunk and in Cyberpunk Edgerunners itself, but also the construction of the TTRPG and the construction of the world that's here and the way that sex is commodified in this world, it seems to be kind of on the nose. And so what I've experienced in the last few days is, and I just formulated this moments ago, as I started to turn my attention back towards Cyberpunk Edgerunners, I went, oh, a framing device, a narrative that allows me to put this into position and to frame what's going on with myself. And that means, wow, that's valuable to me because I broke down this morning. I really broke down this morning. I did a 10-minute, please go watch it. It's a 10-minute brew and I ended up weeping because I don't know how to deal with this complexity, but I found a framing device, and the framing device is what happened between Lucy and David. And it's this. David sees this glimpse of the ethereal potential of the feminine. The possibility of something really interesting. And he's immediately struck by it, right? And what I mean by that is when we see her hair float by for the first times in the first episodes, and we see her standing up there, and he sort of walks by it and doesn't really notice, but then as he walks through those spaces again, he looks up to see if she's there, and she's not. And then he comes into contact with her, incredibly, on the train, and they fall into step together. And it's complicated, but they fall into step. And it feels real. It feels legitimate. He knows that she's a thief. He knows that she's not perfect. But man, she's striking and interesting. And it seems, as she reveals of herself and reveals her vulnerability, it seems like there's the possibility of a real human connection here. And it's not just the possibility. There is a real human connection that occurs between David and Lucy. It's real. It's not fake, except that it is. And so he finds, after being invited into her private spaces and sharing his vulnerability with her, and her sharing her vulnerability with him, in the way that a person really seeking connection would, the hammer falls, and he discovers that it's all a lie, and that what she wants from him is not connection, is not a personal relationship of any kind, friendship or sexual or otherwise. It's not real. All she wants is the material goods that are implanted within him. All she wants is his power. And she wants, because of the position that she's in and the pressure that she's under from capitalism and corruption and destruction and exploitation and all the things that are in the world, only thing that she can even view him as is a mark, a John, someone to take from. She and her boys want to rip that thing out of his spine, and she doesn't feel like there's any other choice or any other way to be. And so he is betrayed because he seeks this reality, this like deeply human need, as necessary as hunger or water. This deeply human need, just one that you can go without for much longer. And that's connection. I don't mean sex. I mean connection. I mean interaction. And David is starved of it, and everyone in this world is starved of it. And he sees a glimpse of it, and he's drawn to the glimpse of the only thing that's been close to transcendental that's ever come across his path. And it's all a lie. It's all she wants from him is something that isn't him. And so I've spoken to a number of these women, I should say, via dating apps. And I've done the confirmation, figured out whether they're real people and what they're up to. And I filter them as best as I can to try to get to the people who have something interesting going on. And I've been trying to evaluate specifically the ones who are the individuals who are engaged in the machine, who are engaged in OnlyFans and the private snaps and the cam and the streaming. And I'm sorry to use those words; they're just the words that we use. I don't mean to be inherently dismissive of the jobs, and I am rationally pro sex work, but there's something about it that doesn't feel quite right, and I'm not sure what that is, and I'm ignorant, and so I'm going into the unknown in order to try to figure it out. And in the process of trying to connect to these people, these human beings, I find that they don't, deeply they do want to connect as well, and they express as much. And they don't seem to understand, by and large, the ones that I've spoken to, why it is that demanding something like money for their time is, well, it inherently devalues the value of human connection and relationships. And it says that human connections and relationships are only worth money. They're only as good as the money you can make off of another person. Being close to people is only valuable if you can exploit them and gain from them, from their presence. And that's not the way that I want to live my life. It doesn't seem ethical. It doesn't seem correct. And it seems like it's really hurting people on both sides of the equation. So I just wanted to bring that up because that framing of looking at it as what happened between David and Lucy, ooh, that made a bunch of things in my brain click together. And it makes me more fascinated to go further through Cyberpunk Edgerunners and watch how these characters interact with each other and see what conclusions, if any, they can come to. Is there a way for David and Lucy and any of these people to find even the slimmest shred of decency and connection and valid human interaction, or whatever it is that we're all seeking something that's more than just this, right? Otherwise, we would do nothing. We would just sit and we'd be content with our world, and we're not. We're not content with our world, so that means that there are things that could be better in our world. And one of them, in a lot of ways, is we wish that there was more connection. And just as the people in Night City seem to be starved for connection and affection, all the people that I meet seem to be starved for connection and affection. From the shopping cart, the cashier at the Bevmo that I talked about, and we've been back and forth over, to the girls that I speak to at the gym, who when I approach them and speak to them and like smile and wave, and I'm genuine and serious, and I come at them with some kind of thing to say that's like valuable, right? I come bringing a sacrifice that's like, this is something I want to say to you that's maybe important, and I try to make it multiple things, and I try to make it like not just a compliment but also a criticism, maybe, and also like or maybe a helpful piece of information if I can do one that's like, if you did this as well, what you're doing is awesome, you're doing really great, if you did this as well, it could be better, that kind of a statement. And every time there's this immediate fear response, oh shit, I'm being approached by a person, and then a melting of like, oh thank God, a connection. And the eyes light up and the smile pops up. It's like, oh. So I think we need to find a way to move toward more real human connections. How about that? Seems really good. And it seems like there are some systems in our real world that are actively doing the exact opposite. And I think that oddly those systems seem to be built for connections. Tinder, OkCupid, Match.com, Hinge, Bumble, Boo, fucking all of there are so many. They're supposedly for connections, and they've made connections less real. Something like that. It's inarticulate space, and that's why we represent it in art. But I'd like to be able to articulate it better. And so I'm sorry for articulating it here at the beginning of this episode, because I know that it's not exactly relevant, but it's also exactly relevant. It's exactly what Cyberpunk Edgerunners has been talking about so far. And so, well, I've experienced it firsthand now in the last couple of days, a couple of times, like more than a couple of times, actually. And it really scares me. It really scares me. And so Cyberpunk Edgerunners continues to scare me. But maybe there are answers in it too, and maybe looking into this abyss a little bit more deeply will allow some revelations for me. And so I'm sacrificing, I'm right on the edge of tears, I'm so sorry. I'm sacrificing my own sanity a little bit, because being lied to and exploited by people really does things to your brain, man. It really does. So I'm sacrificing my sanity a little bit in order to get a little bit closer to the evil in the world, a little bit closer to the monster, hopefully without becoming it, a little bit closer to the edge of the abyss, and maybe even stepping into it, but holding onto the rope really hard because I don't want to fall in. So I'm holding myself out over the abyss, and man, I am being torn apart by the pressure. Really, really. So I hope that it's worth it. I hope that maybe it can be worth it. Because maybe I can come out with some better framed ideas of this thing. Because I went in with this idea that was like, sex work is empowering and Tinder and OnlyFans are pretty good things in general. And now as I'm getting closer to, and those were ideas that I just sort of never evaluated. They were just sort of going with the flow. It's what everybody says, it seems. And the people who are saying the opposite seem to be fucking assholes or like the religious right. And I don't want to, that seems bad and wrong and oppressive and patriarchal. And I don't think telling women what they can do with their bodies is correct. So it seems like a good thing that they're capable of doing it. At least that's how it seemed at first. But now I get closer to it and the realities of it begin to present themselves to me. And I've become... It's dark in here, man. It's dark in here. So that's what I wanted to express here at the beginning, is that, man, there's some darkness and I'm getting a little bit closer to it. And I do so at my own peril. And I do so at my own peril so that I can learn and share. So I'm venturing out. I'm doing what I told you that I would do. I will venture out into the darkest unknown and I will gather the most truth that I can and I will bring it back to you. I will seek in the dangers of the deep jungle for a banana tree, and then I will not just bring back bananas, I hope, but hopefully tell you where the bananas are. In a weird monkey framing, which is a very useful framing device. That's what I am here for, is I'm here to venture boldly into the unknown, into what I do not understand, in order to understand the lay of the land that presents itself to us as individuals in this weird world that we live in this incredibly articulated forest of the internet that we exist in. And I go out into it, and I find what I find, and I am hurt by the beasts out there and the monsters, and torn up by the vines and the thorns and the jungle, and bitten by the snakes and infected by the leeches, and I come back to you broken, but with knowledge of where there may be some truth and where there may be some dangers. And so I say this, I don't know enough to know this, but I think there are some dangers in the continuous and seemingly growing sexualization and exploitation of self that seems to be widespread on the internet and in dating communities and among young men and young women. And I think it's dangerous. And I don't know enough to say that it definitely is dangerous, but maybe it's not all good, and maybe there are monsters out there, and it's worth being careful around. Okay, that hits the 20-minute mark on the video. I'm going to take a deep breath and a couple of sips of tea, and then I'm going to turn my attention to the comment spotlight. Thank you for bearing with me. And thank you for believing in me. If you do, it's hard. It's hard even to believe in myself sometimes, but I can do this. I can do this, and I will be stronger because of it. And I will be stronger because of it. Okay, with nothing but love, I'm going to take a moment. Okay. I'll include that little bit of breathing because maybe it'll be helpful. It's similar to what I do right before I get prepped to dive into the ice cold showers that I've been taking and that I took right this morning. Because there's this moment where it's like, I don't want to do it. If I could only turn the shower to hot, that would be so nice. And you have to just, and you just go, you just do it. It's like, it's with everything else. You just floor it. You just go. You choose the thing, you determine really carefully whether it's worthwhile, and then you fucking drive. You fucking go for it, and it's exactly what David did in the last episode. He's there, he's so scared. He has never driven before. He's behind the wheel of a large automobile, thanks, Psycho Killer. Or no, that's, This Might Be the Place, that's Talking Heads, yeah. You may find yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile. And all the pressure builds up around him, and press, go! And he just goes, and he does it. And it works, because he does it. And that's what I was doing there when I was breathing. these things are all intertwined. It's ways of existing, it's ways of being, and they're articulated in art. So let's talk about them, and let's talk about talking about them, and let's head toward the comments. So I'm going to do the comments on the episode video itself, and then I will go into the comment spotlight comments themselves, and I won't hold myself to this timer, but I'm going to set a 30-minute timer to try to hold myself to some level of restraint, because when I get into flow about talking about these elements of what is, what I find so deeply compelling, I just get lost and time disappears. And that's a problem, because I'd like to get to the episode today. So, and that's what happened with Edgerunners before, is like I wanted to get to the episode. So anyway, a 30-minute timer, bam, and we hit comment spotlight right now. So let's go top comments on the episode itself. The bikers-speaking Japanese are members of another Night City gang, the Tiger's Claws. They're straight-up Yakuza, and they're fucking crazy, and that's why they have Japanese dialogue, and they're a huge part of the city's populace is ethnically Japanese, this is Volk. Hence why the Japanese dialogue. Also, fun fact, all the weird cyberware installed on the arms of the characters you see in this episode, like Lucy's wires, the Tiger Claw's mantis blades, and even Maine's metal knuckles and gut-style cannon, are all cyberware you can buy and install on your character in the game. Super fun stuff. I assumed as much. That totally makes sense, and that Maine might have some really cool thing, and so when you watch this and you've already played the game, you're like, oh, whoa, that's the blank that I built my one character with, and that's the big mega gun that I built my other character with, and that makes a lot of good sense. Mastin of Mastin Music, who is a music producer as far as I recall, hi, what's up, says, crazy how every track on the OST for the show is simply a banger, and I believe it, and I agree. Rad. Yarrow19 says, looking fit, bro, it's good not to skip leg day. You're goddamn right it's good not to skip leg day, and frankly, that's not how I lift. Here's what I'll say. Oh, and says, and I respect Studio Trigger for putting a strong foot and keeping the lolly. Interesting. I don't know if there's any actual debate around that. I'm sure that there is, but, well, I think that the character is probably more complicated than that, and that anybody who dismisses Becca immediately as, oh, it's just a lolly exploitation character is probably a fool, because there are layers to everything in this world, and so that's silly. So, to mention it's good not to skip leg day. I don't have leg days. I don't do a leg day. Leg day means you separate your leg day, the day that you work your legs, out from the day that you work your other parts of the body, and that's stupid as fuck. Your legs are a part of your whole system. Literally, your legs pump your blood. Like walking around is a huge part of what pumps blood through your body. Movement is a part of your normalcy. Anyway, that's sort of irrelevant. Here's what I do. I go to the gym 3 times a week. Every time for like an hour. That's how long it takes me to go to the gym. It's not that much of a commitment. It really isn't that hard. It takes a little bit longer because I work in with a friend, right? So it takes us like an hour and a half, because I'll do a set and then they'll do a set and then we're having to wait for each other, so there's more time being taken and whatnot. Whatever. It just takes more time. Here's what I do. I go to the gym 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You can also do like Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. You want to split them up by a couple of the days so that you can recover, and you blast yourself really hard. And what you do is you warm up to the weight that is the maximal that you can handle, and you do about 3 sets of 5 reps of good, clean repetitions at the weight that is the maximal that you can handle for all of these exercises. And the first exercise that I do on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, every fucking time that I go to the gym, is I squat, which is to say that I put a heavy weight on the highest point of my body that can hold a weight, which is my shoulders, and then I bring it with my whole body, my torso locked, my arms locked, my shoulders locked, my back locked, every part of me locked. I bring it down as deep as I can, all the way through my legs and all the way up. To consider the squat a leg exercise is to dismiss the most important part of the exercise, which is that it's a whole body exercise. I don't do leg day. I squat a lot. That's what it is. My legs are awesome, but so is everything else, man. I feel amazing because of it. And the program that I do with those things, it's starting strength in general. I'm going to move off of it soon because I'll be strong enough to move off of it soon. It's a novice beginner program, but go look up starting strength. In fact, type in starting strength 3 PDF and then click on the first link on Google, and that will get you a free PDF of maybe the most valuable exercise text in existence. Go get it. You can find it for free. Here you go. Here is banana tree. Banana tree. Big useful information for you. If you'd like to be stronger, that's how you do it. As far as I know, it's the best way to do it. I haven't found a better way to do it. There you go. Squat, bench, deadlift on one day. Squat, overhead press, row, barbell row on the other day. Mix things up a little bit if you want to, but otherwise just alternate the days continuously. So your first week is ABA, and your second week is BAB, and that's your workout program. Go get strong. Be gone. And eat enough. Be gone. Be gone. Have fun. Come back when you're ripped to shit and strong as fuck. Alt art. Quality interesting note around 5520 when you mentioned the fight in TTGL between Kamina and Viral. Hadn't thought about that till you mentioned it, but yeah, it was when they had their first encounter, and the entire scene is pretty similar. The grass was a lot taller there than in this Edgerunner scene. Yeah, they're in like tall grass. But in both instances, it starts out with main character investing in an area casually and trouble coming up abruptly as a surprise to the MC. During the pose you mentioned, right after, David pops his Sandy to break the stalemate and help Lucy. During the similar pose in TTGL, Simone in Lagan interferes with the stalemate to help his bro. Then a fourth character shows up to assist, who's Main or Yoko, and, well, things escalate from there in TTGL, whilst Main finishes things quickly here. Actually, both happen in episode 3 as well, ... Yeah, it's an interesting parallel, right? This, like, one weird fight happens in the same episode at the sort of the same time in sort of the same way. A lot of the things in Edgerunners are like that. They're, like, slightly changed or altered or refined versions of the same storytelling elements. And the same is true if you look at, like, Gurren Lagann and then Promare. It's like, Imaichi's not exactly, they're not trying to tell totally novel stories. They've already figured out what a lot of the right stories are. And I think they figured out a lot of the best ways to frame the thing. And so in a lot of senses, what they have to do a bunch is reinvent the wheel a lot and just be like, well, how do we do this slightly different so it isn't exactly the same? And how do we do it in a way that conveys exactly what we want, just 1% better than we did before? And so there's this process of iteration instead of this need to create totally divergent things. And so Trigger keeps making shows that are like, what? That people go, they're like, they just make the same show over and over. It's like, yeah, well, it's the right show, man. What if it's the right story? You know, it's like if you were to say, oh man, I fucking hate stories because everybody just tells the Campbellian monomyth over and over again. They just tell the story of the hero's descent into darkness and discovery of the of something valid and validating in the unknown, and then reintegration with the world and return to the house of the cultural father, and like all these represent. They just keep telling the same story, man. It's all boring. We don't do that. We go, yes, more of the same story, please. Please. I need to confirm these tales with myself. I need to confirm that other people see the world this way. I need to believe, man. It's that repetition, and man, Trigger is doing it. Don't randomly ban me. You might find this a strange connection to make. I don't, and I'm actually gonna jump off of it in an interesting way that you might not expect. But when you were discussing how people have to perhaps allow parts of themselves to be subsumed into corruption, I had a thought that I ought to recommend Arcane, the League of Legends adaptation. You're not the only one. I think you would get a lot of discussion out of it in its various themes. Thanks as usual, T. I am sure that I would. Here's the deal. At some point, I'm gonna put up a poll for like 3 or 4 shows that I really don't want to watch. For various reasons that I'm super resistant to watching. I think Made in Abyss will be one of them. Because I'm super resistant to watching Made in Abyss because I've been spoiled on it, and I get where it's going, and I've already seen like 6 episodes of it, so it's like, it's a rehash for me, and I don't want to do that. But people are really insistent that they'd really like to see it, and so eventually I'll have to put it on a poll and allow that, and just be like, well, it's the place I least want to look, and so I'll look there. Arcane, I do not want to look at. Here's why. I have been a League of Legends addict, and I've said this before. It's my fault for having an addictive personality and being capable of addiction, but it's also the system's fault for being predatory, and League of Legends is a predatory system, and Riot Games is a predatory company that's currently owned by Tencent, a predatory Chinese marketing company and multinational holdings group that you should be very wary of Tencent and all of their ownership. Let's go find out what they own. One of the highest grossing multimedia companies in the world based on its revenue. Fat Shark, Funcom, Grinding Gear Games, iFlix, Clay Entertainment, Leiyu, Miniclip, Riot Games, Shark Mob, Sixjoy, Supercell, Turtle Rock Studios. Yay, wow. Turtle Rock Studios is owned by Tencent? No! Oh, wait, no, that's okay, because, Matthew Colville doesn't work there anymore. He founded his own goddamn game company. Let's go, Matt. Don't sell it to Tencent, please. Please, God. It's all venture capital. Minority stake at Epic Games, equity majority 92% interest in Riot Games, owns a minority stake in Fortnite, Unreal, Gears of War, Infinity Blade, owns a stake of Kingsoft, owns a stake as a passive investor of Activision Blizzard, owns a stake of Chinese search engine Sogo.com, the subsidiary of Sohu, owns the e-commerce website JD.com, and is trying to build it as a competitor to the Alibaba Group. Owns WeChat and is challenging Baidu, owns a percentage of Tesla, a share of Frontier Developments, which owns Elite Dangerous and Planet Coaster and Roller Coaster Tycoon. Collaborating with L'Oreal, owns 12% of Snap, and wants to establish Snapchat as a gaming platform. Jointly developing games with the Lego Company, owns a video-on-demand service iFlix in Malaysia. Planned to merge the two top video game streaming sites in China, Huya Live and Douyu, and got totally shredded by antitrust laws because they're an enormous trust. Acquired Slamfire and Turtle Rock Studios, the developer behind Left 4 Dead and Back 4 Blood. Owns or is talking to acquire VR headsets and Black Shark, which is backed by Xiaomi. Owns the instant messaging program QQ and WeChat, and a few dozen more other chunks of different gaming systems. Tencent owns a ton. And I am very scared by Tencent because they do not seem to care about human beings at all. Not one bit. And League of Legends, Riot Games, does not seem to care about human beings at all. Not one bit. Not one bit. And I have been hurt by that game and by the way that it preys upon your dopaminergic reward systems really effectively. And it makes you feel like you're driving towards something of value, and you're not. You're just wasting time. And it was destroying me. And it wasted a lot of my time. And it's my damn fault for not being strong enough, okay? I get it, right? But it's also the fucking thing's fault for being a predator. You know, it's the antelope's fault for not being fast enough to get away from the lion, but it's the lion's fault that the antelope is dead, all right? So I'm not going to look at Arcane unless I absolutely have to, because I don't want anything to do with bolstering League of Legends or Riot Games or anything to do with it. And so when you say, discussing how people have perhaps allowed parts of themselves to be subsumed into corruption, my statement is this. I don't know how that relates to the story of Arcane and League of Legends, but Riot Games and League of Legends itself is subsumed into corruption. It is owned by a, as far as I can tell, deeply corrupt, incredibly capitalist company. And if you have any sense, you will get off the platform. Because it's not doing good things to your brain. That's my statement. I do like Johan Bauer's comment on this one. Welcome to the crew, David. This is the train you just got on, and there ain't no getting off. Ready or not, here we go. Bingo. Matt Mercer? Nah, we going full Giancarlo Esposito in this joint. You need a fixer voice? You get motherfucking Gus Fring to bring the heat. I don't pay you to think. I pay you to check things off my list. Is an embodiment of the cold transactional nature of mercenary work in Night City, and seemingly all work in Night City, and it's the same cold transactional nature that I'm seeing in sex work all over the place. Just mentioning it, okay? Maine's advice to David, and I don't want to get deep into capitalism, but I'm sure that we will. Maine's advice to David is truly something to take to heart. You can only trust yourself, but to trust yourself to be able to do what must be done, you must better yourself. If you can better yourself, you can better the team. That's good advice. It's good advice, but there's something else that's inherently flawed about his advice, which is that it's put more of the corruption inside yourself, right? That's Maine's goal, or Maine's way of dealing with it is you have to get stronger, and so you have to integrate more of the bad things into you and become more monster in order to fight against monster, and that seems like a slippery slope, but I don't know. Certainly in Cyberpunk, you cannot judge a book by its cover, and nothing embodies this more than Rebecca. Body modding is a massive part of the Cyberpunk setting, and you can look any way you want for whatever reason. There are petite adults, and there exists a Moe Moe fandom, but for all we know, 20-year-old Rebecca could have started as a 6'7", 340-pound lumberjack named Kevin. Or, my personal headcanon, Rebecca could be Revy from Black Lagoon, still going strong at 110 years old with a new suite of everything to remain a valid gun gremlin and off Interpol's radars because statutes of limitation don't exist for her crimes. God, yes, if you have not watched Black Lagoon, it's been a while, but I fully do get it, and that's some good stuff there, baby. Yeah, I agree, and that's really interesting, and that's exactly what I mean about Rebecca. It's like, people are like, well, this person's just a loli. It's like, boo, I don't know about that, man. This person, whoever they are underneath, chose to represent themselves in precisely this way. So it's like when you see an e-girl who's dressed up like a schoolgirl kitty cat thing is basically how they dress a lot. You see a lot of e-girls who are dressed up like schoolgirl cats and are just doing that whole thing and really infantilizing themselves. I don't have a problem with that necessarily. What they're doing is they're making a choice in their behavior. And so you can't point at that and look at a consenting adult who's doing that and say, that's lolicon or whatever you would be doing. It's like, that doesn't track, man. Rebecca's more complicated than that. That's a person. And whatever systemic weirdness and internal weirdness and normalness, because weirdness is normal, has made her choose her path. She's made her choices, and that's what that is. And so I'm looking at Rebecca like really intrigued and in no way dismissive. So good stuff there, and good stuff, Johann Bowers. Space Monkey Entertainment. Edgerunners is one of the best things that came out this year, easily, but I really dislike all the car scenes. They feel way too floaty and, worse yet, inconsistent for my taste, to the point where it actively bothers me in a that's just not how this world would work out kind of way. The meta joke of, well, driving was and is awful in the game kind of makes this more bearable. I actually don't think that's what's going on, because it gives me a chuckle to think that they would really do it that way for that reason. And I know it's overly nitpicky and somewhat on the level of things like, why didn't David break his hand when he smacked the other dude into the wall, huh? But for some reason, my brain can't handle most suspensions of disbelief, but this one really bothers me. And Ali Mar comes at it with, isn't this just an Amaishi thing? In Panty and Stocking, there's a scene where 100 cops cars are flying around like toys, and I say the same is true in Dead Leaves. So here's what's up, and here's what I'm saying. Oh, I'll read the next comment by Space Monkey. I see, that makes sense then. I am only tangentially familiar with Panty and Stocking as a series, and have not even heard of Dead Leaves, so I am missing the reference completely. I guess that is why the point of, they did the thing, never hit for me. Now that I think about it, I guess what bothers me about it is that there would have been an opportunity to use it to say something about the current state of the situation, and instead it is just meta context, by which I mean, this is just how it is in the universe. Okay, I'm gonna stop there because this is important. And we jump down to, if anything, I think it clashes with the story. We get presented this stylized yet hyper-gritty reality where one wrong move can be fatal, yet the driving defies all physics. I think, at least for me, it diminishes the stakes of the situation. It's like you are prepped for a simulation game with pit crew management and every part impacting the handling, but then you get a mix of Need for Speed and Mario Kart. Okay, so here's what I think. I think a couple things. One, I think that the vehicle that David gets into is meant to be a hyper-powerful, like super souped-up, bulletproof Bentley, right? Because you can get these. You can purchase cars like this. They're hundreds of thousands of dollars for the vehicle, but it's made of like bulletproof steel and bulletproof glass, and it's a tank in the form of a sports car, okay? That's why it's got multiple tires and like all these crazy wheels and shit, is because the vehicle is a tank. So, frankly, they can't get hurt in this thing. So part of the driving around and just like going insane and flying over shit is because they're in a tank, and so they're doing insane shit. And then you have like, well, in Panty and Stocking and the other ones, you have cop cars like flying around willy-nilly, and none of it seems to matter, and all of it seems really flippant and stupid. I say that is the using it to say something about the current state of the situation. It is saying that people are flippant with technology and the use of it. And if we had cop cars in the presence, it would be saying like, well, the cops are useless, is essentially what it's saying, is that the cops are paper thin. It's what we do in Kill la Kill constantly. It's what we do in a lot of shows constantly with Amaishi running them, is when he wants to make something silly, he takes like 1,000 of them and he makes them all fly around like bowling pins. You do it with wave after wave after wave of humans stacked up in Kill la Kill, right? Like people wave after wave after wave of them step up to like defend Satsuki and get destroyed and thrown all over the place. And in Panty and Stocking, it's like crash and cop cars go flying everywhere. And it's like, well, the cops are stupid and dumb is basically the idea. And you can, if you really want to see that root of the thing, go watch Inferno Cop, because Inferno Cop is exactly that, right? In the first episode of Inferno, I remember this because I showed it to a friend recently. In the first episode of Inferno Cop, there's a moment where there's a bad guy and a cop shows up, just sort of drives up and comes out and is like, hey, you can't be doing that. The guy and his gang are about to like beat the shit out of a pregnant woman is the joke in Inferno Cop episode 1. And the police officer's like, hey, I am a police. You may not do that. And the guy's like, oh, but you know we pay our taxes. And he's like, oh, well, very well then, and just sort of disappears, right? And that's the joke. And then as that cop is driving away, we hear that cop going like, man, I can't wait to get home and watch my favorite anime. And then his car gets absolutely demolished and flung off into oblivion by Inferno Cop's car, because Inferno Cop is like, I am justice. And that's the whole stupid joke that's there. It is criticism. It is nitty-gritty commentary. It is those things. The silliness of the driving and the fact that it irks you is actually the thing that you want it to be. I hope this helps you frame it differently, Space Monkey. I don't know. But what you say is, IMO, it would have made more sense to show some restraint here and go for we have some range at our disposal instead of this is how we do it and change it up when appropriate. As it stands now, it starts ridiculous, it stays ridiculous, it ends ridiculous. So here's my point is, I don't think it's actually because that's how the cars act with the glitches. It might be, but that's not the joke. the joke is that none of it matters, essentially, is that it's all stupid, right? And that you can't actually really get hurt, right? So all of David's fears about driving and stuff don't matter because he's in a test vehicle that can't get destroyed effectively, right? Like they're pretty fucking safe in this car, at least for a while. And it gets pretty torn up as we go along, but it does pretty well. And that's sort of the joke, right? Is that once you start driving, it's not as scary as you thought, and you're more capable than you thought of handling it. Okay, on to the comment spotlight section. Let's fucking go, dude. I'm actually gonna start with this one. Man, sometimes you really can, this is SPB. Man, sometimes you really can hit deep. Money is important, and almost all the times when people want more money, they don't want it for greed. Almost all the times. It's only the people who have more than enough who want more money who want it for greed, right? Most people want money so that they can survive because, well, yeah, the idea is that if you put value out into the world will reflect value upon you, and you can use that value in order to survive. At least that's the fundament of it, or what it's supposed to be, and it seems like anything that corrupts that seems to be corruption. If you prove your value to the world, and the world is fair, which it's not, but if it were, if you present value to the world, to the rest of humanity, to all of society, to the earth, to everything, then the world should reward you with the power and value that you need in order to continue surviving, in order to produce more value, and do so more effectively with more reach and more power. Seems about right. Okay, I was one of those retail workers that you mentioned, and I did realize that it's not a life worth living. You woke up, my guy. Let's go. Let's go. So I went back to finish my last year in uni, and now I'm trying to get a better job, even getting offers, but this still isn't it. It's just the same thing with better pay, which is motivating, but for how long? And it isn't even that much pay. Bingo, exactly. So here's what you've discovered. You've woken up. You're awake, SPP. You've woken up to the problem, which is that if you're not working for yourself, you're doing something weird, and it doesn't feel right. So here's the thing. Whatever skills you have, marry your skills to your passions. If you want to be whole, the best thing that I've come close to is marry your skills and your passions and figure out something in the space where they intersect that might allow you to create for yourself and for humanity. And go out into the world with the intent of producing as much value as you possibly can. The exact opposite of like work theft, right? Or time theft, where you're going in and your goal is to produce as little work as possible and get as much money as possible. That's exploitative and corruptive. Here's your goal. Produce as much value as you can and cast your bread upon the waters. Give it away as much as you can until you almost die. And maybe it'll work. Maybe it'll work. The line from Akagi in episode 1 is, "You would survive if you were only willing to die." And he's right. He's right. He's right. And he says later, "You're just afraid." You're just afraid. You would survive if you would only let yourself die. It's really scary to strike out on your own. It's really scary, but you can do it. And that's why I mentioned Turtle Rock Studios, because a content creator that I'm a huge fan of, Matthew Colville, started making totally free videos about how to dungeon master and how dungeon mastering works, because he'd been doing it for years. And he's a game designer who worked at Turtle Rock Studios on game design stuff, on Uncharted and on some of Left 4 Dead, I think, and on multiple other games. And he made his own damn business. He made it around his YouTube, but he didn't sell his content. He sold other things. He used the YouTube to sell his actual books, right? And he produced this ethical, self-funded thing, and it's exploded. And now he owns his own game studio, and he employs other people, and he employs them, as far as I can tell, in a moderately ethical way, where what they're working toward is somewhat aligned with what he's working toward, and they're given some freedom, and they can actually achieve things together as like a unity. As like a union. And as far as I know, there's some ownership of the thing, not just his, but of the other people who work for him, and they own the thing. And what has happened? Well, his videos have gotten better, and his audience has expanded, and his income has exploded, and that means he can make more and better videos. And they managed to do a full setup where they can stream their D&D sessions and show them, and people eat that shit up because he's telling them truth and value. And it has returned to him 1,000-fold. 1,000-fold. He cast his bit of knowledge where his passions and his skills align, speaking to an audience and speaking in general and talking about game design and talking about his passions in gaming and dungeon mastering and D&D. He spoke those things to the world, and it worked. And it worked. And the world has reflected value upon him. And it's the same thing that I'm doing, and it's the same thing that you can do. I don't know what your degree is or your job is or where your passions lie, SPB, but if you really evaluate yourself and you sit with yourself and you consider from this exact angle that you're in, what would be a life worth living? What kind of work would fulfill me into the future forever? What kind of work would I do even if it was for free? And then do that for free, or close to it as you can ethically manage and survivably manage. And do it. And be willing to die a little bit. How bad could it be? What's the worst that could happen to you? The worst that could happen to you is that you die. Like, really die. Well, you said it yourself. You're going to be in a slow, long-term death anyway. Right? So pick your poison. Slow, long-term death, getting your soul crushed by exploitation, or an immediate, quick finding out whether you're made of something. Find out what you're made of, man. Find out. Because it's gonna take like a month. If you don't have a bunch of savings and a bunch of platforms and a bunch of like safety nets, it's gonna take about a month. And you'll go from doing okay to not doing okay at all and starving and fucked. Okay? So here's the thing. Give yourself a month. What do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? Give yourself a month. Save what you can. Fill your fridge with food and walk away from your job and try something else. Have a plan, right? I'm not saying be stupid. Don't just jump off a cliff. Look first. See whether there are rocks down below. But then get yourself ready and fucking drive, man. Fucking drive, man. Fucking go. I believe in you. You can do this. You can do this. We can all do this to some extent or another. We can change ourselves and we can change the entire world by doing it. God, this timer is running out and I've only got a minute and a half and there's so many more comments. I'm gonna go to the top comments now. Oh, Fell writes, here's something you need to understand about Google, and it's a simple phrase that will illustrate a wealth of information about how digital capitalism works. If a corporation offers you something for free, it's because you are not the customer, you are the product. If they seem less evil than Instagram, it's probably just because Instagram isn't as good at it as them. I disagree heavily. And you, Fell, your comments have continued to become more condescending as we've been going on, and it's why I haven't been responding to you as much. You keep treating me as though I don't understand the fundamental essence of these things, and I think you don't fundamentally understand the essence of these things. I have worked at these companies. I have seen the way they function. I have lived and worked in Silicon Valley, where Facebook and Google and many of these other companies are literally headquartered, and I have brushed shoulders repeatedly with the people who work for and at them. I know what I'm fucking talking about to some extent. And blanket statements like, yo, it's because you're the product. No shit, Sherlock, I'm aware of that. I make myself the product. Google gives me the platform to do so in a way that seems ethical. That's okay with me, man. I understand it. We're gonna be the product anyway, but does one of them sucks your soul out of your body and the other one doesn't? So there's a bit of a difference, okay? And dismissing it all as it's all the same, it's all just capitalist exploitation, it's all just destruction is really petty and silly. So put your shit in order, Fell. I'd love to argue this with you more effectively, but just telling me that I essentially don't know what's going on in the field that I am most articulate about and know the most about, like compared to all the fields that I know about, the one that I have professional training and experience in is computer science and programming in startups and corporations. It's what I know best, and I know it pretty well. That doesn't mean that I'm an expert theorist on it or anything, but I know it pretty well, and my guy, you don't. So I'm sorry to be an asshole in this moment, and I recognize that I am being so, but it really irks me that you keep coming at me as though I don't understand what's going on here, when I absolutely do. Okay? So go do your own research, please, or ask me instead of presupposing that you understand better than I do what's happening in these spaces. Ask what's going on, and I'll tell you as best as I can from the perspectives that I have, which are limited. But just dismissing it as it's offered for free and so you're the product and that makes it evil, thin, very weak argument. Misan. It's 2 a.m. on a Saturday morning, well awake due to a scuffed sleep schedule of my own making, 25 years of age, and I am sitting here having tea run in the background talking about the comments of episode 2 of Cyberpunk. Suddenly, an hour into the video, my attention snaps over because tea is calling me out. No systems of my own, living just to survive, and a lack of drive to do anything but just distract myself. I've been there, man. I've been exactly there. Desperate for something other than this, for something to look away from what's hard. Because it's so hard, man. It's so damn difficult to be good. I don't know what good is, but to try, right? The attempt to get closer to whatever good is that you haven't articulated yet is like the hardest thing that I've ever done. It's so hard, and it's so much easier to sit there and play games, or to jerk off, or to eat yourself into oblivion, or to do any of the number of things that you can do to distract yourself. I feel you. No systems of my own, living just to survive, and a lack of drive to do anything but just distract myself. Always talking about all the things I want to do, but never actually do. Feeling like I have given up while still thinking I can do better. Right, you're in chaos, man. The side of you that is alive is at odds with the side of you that goes, guess I just die here, right? Like the meme that's just like, I guess I'll die, is like half of you. And the other half is like, no! Listen to the part that says no. Listen to it. Foster it. Okay. Sorry to keep interrupting. Your comment is so good. It immediately evokes responses from me because I feel you, and you put some of your soul into the page in that comment, and I want to speak to that soul because having revealed it to yourself, it's open now, right? And so it can be molded a little bit, and I have the chance to maybe do that a little bit, and to give you banana tree. Big banana tree. Big true. I feel like I've given up while still thinking I can do better. Always going out, pretending to be happy and nice, automatically putting on what even to me feels like an act, but also it being automatic, unable to not do so. A year after moving, still without therapeutic or medical connections, with the pressure from the government that I need, but unable to properly deal with it. Feeling like it isn't something anyone else can help with, but also not able to do anything about it myself. I'm writing this down because your video gave me a moment of clarity. Yeah. You saw through for a second. You managed to step away from your patterns for a second. It's really hard to do that. And I just know that the moment I sit back down, it will be gone. No, it won't. It's there now. It's there now. That seed has awakened, and only you can kill it. Don't kill it. Give it water. Give it sunlight. I mean, literally. It's part of you, right? Give yourself water and sunlight, man. Give yourself the tools that you need to grow. Okay. Your video gave me a moment of clarity, and I just know that the moment I sit back down, it will be gone. It's not something you should concern yourself. It is my concern. You are my responsibility now. Misan, you are my responsibility now. Radical ownership. Radical fucking ownership. You're a part of me, okay? You're mine. You, a little fraction of your soul, is mine now. And I'm going to make it as good as I can in the best way that I know how. And I don't mean that I own you, but I'm going to treat you like I'm responsible for you and like I'm a steward for you. And I'm going to do the same thing to every damn person who watches my videos or comes into my comments. I am responsible for your well-being, and I'm responsible for delivering unto you something that would be helpful to you. It's not something you should concern yourself. Bullshit. Bull fucking shit. The well-being of all mankind is exactly my concern because I am a part of it. Because I can change it via my actions, and my actions can change it in a negative way. I could be out here causing harm. I could be the Mickelson twins teaching people how to exploit other people. Go watch Folding Ideas video on the Mickelson twins. Go watch that if you want to find out about some exploitative stuff, okay? You can do evil in this world. I refuse. And I'm not going to act like I'm not responsible for your actions either. Because the fact that my speech had an effect on you and got you to wake up for a moment means that I have power. Okay, and that's really scary. A little bit of power can go in a lot of ways. And one of the ways that it can go is that you can go into the middle of the police or in the middle of Times Square and start shooting people up. Psychologically, you can start running around destroying. You can start running around calling people bigots and racists, and or on the other side, running around and using slurs and demeaning people and destroying their lives. You can do all of those things. And the more powerful you are, the more of an audience you have, the more people who listen to you and care about you and trust you, the more powerful and dangerous you become. And so I'm trying to be really in tune with my own power. And I have some. And that's weird. And a lot of it's like charisma or something. Fuck if I know. Or at least the willingness to say these things. But it's still power. And it's power over you. And I'm not going to ignore it. It is my concern. Your well-being is my concern, and I will do it because it is my concern. It is my responsibility, and so this is my house. This is my house, and I will try to keep it clean, and I will try to keep it organized, and I will try to make it better than it was before, and I will try to build upon it. And you're a part of it. You're a part of my house. My house is the world. My home is the world. My home is all of you. My home is everyone. My home is the world, and it is my temple, and it is holy, and it is sacred, and I will treat it as such. And your soul is a part of it. Your being and your life and your beliefs are a part of it. And so if I can speak to them in a way that changes them, I will do so, and I will do so in what I believe to be the best and most positive way possible. And I will fail, and I will cause harm in the process. And I just ask that those of you who I cause harm to tell me so that I could try to avoid doing so more in the future. It's not something you should concern yourself with, but maybe I will read this comment again in a few days, and hopefully it will give me pause again. Essentially, my point in writing this is to make it clear to myself, but also for you to know, you have the power to wake people up. You enrich in people's lives, and I, as a person, am incredibly grateful for your existence and all that I do. You are welcome. That's why it's free. I have to do it. I have to do it. Fuck. I'm so scared. I'm so scared of doing this. This is gonna destroy me. I have to do this. Fuck. I've been resistant to do this from the very beginning, for forever, and I have to do it. I don't know that I'll do it today, but I'm gonna dissolve some of the. I'm gonna set myself up for next month. That's what I'll do. I got my tax return the other day. You remember I said, I don't remember where I said it, but I did my taxes for the past couple of years because I kept getting the letters that were like, you haven't done your fucking taxes, boy, and we gonna come after you. It's like, okay, cool. So I went and I slew the dragon. I got my shit together. I got my sword in hand, and I sliced open the damn papers, and I opened them, and I did my taxes. And the government owed me like $1,500 twice. Now, one of them I have to mail in. I still haven't mailed it in. Fuck. But the other one I sent in digitally. And within a week now, or a couple of weeks now, I forget how long it was. Within a couple of weeks, just the other day, $1,500 or so dropped into my bank account. Okay, so that's more than a month of stuff. That's more than a month of stuff. Of food and rent and all the things that I need. It's more than a month. So here's what I'm gonna do. And I've got a bit over a month saved as well, because I've been working towards savings. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna die again. Oh God. Oh man. Even considering saying this is so scary. I'm gonna die again. I'm gonna kill early access. For like a month. And we'll see how it goes. I don't know what to put for the $5. There should be something, right? There should be something worthwhile as well. And early access was that, but I don't know what to put for the $5 tier. I don't want to paywall any of my content, and that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. There's friction in my heart, in my soul, in my being. And the friction is this. I don't give away my content completely for free. That's what it is. And so when I say that I give my content away for free, I'm lying. And so when you say, I as a person am incredibly grateful for your existence and all that you do, I want to say, you're welcome, and I give it to you for free. That's what I want to say. It's what I want to say to you. And it's a lie, because I don't give it away for free. Not completely. There's friction to it. And so I have to dissolve early access. I have to. It's the last bastion of unethicalness in my existence. I have to dissolve it. And it means that people will quit. And my Patreon will probably go exactly the wrong direction when I do this. I'm probably going to lose everything if I do this. It's so scary. It's so scary. I've built this tiny little island of something like stability on the internet where I perform something like ethical content creation in exchange, in valued exchange for what I create. And it destroys me that I think that the only reason that I make as much money as I do is because I withhold the content from the people who would need it for a week. That seems to be wrong. It seems to be wrong. So I have to figure out something else that's worth $5. That's worth it. But in the meantime, I can't keep doing it this way. And so I'm gonna make all the videos free. Like free. And I'm gonna release them when I record them and render them and put them out. I'm just gonna upload them. And this is gonna transition, it's gonna destroy me. It's gonna destroy me because I have no idea how to do this. I've been doing it the one way since the beginning of the channel. I haven't changed it, and it's worked. So I haven't changed it, and I've been loath to change it because it's worked. But I have to do it. I have to. And we'll see. Man, we'll see. I think people will drop away. I assume that people will drop away. But what if I'm wrong? What if I'm wrong? What if my deeply held beliefs are true? What if I make the content free and then I ask seriously for your help to say that if I produced something of value for you, please put your mouth where your money is. Please reflect that value to me. If I give it to you for free, will you pay for it anyway? If I don't make you? And of course the answer is some of you won't and some of you will. Of course that's the answer. But I can't keep on like this. It's the most ethical way of being that I have ever found, and it's not good enough, and so I will die. And so I will die before I allow this to continue. I cannot. I cannot. So I will make this video the first of those, and I'll upload it today. I mean, I'm behind by a week anyway, right? Behind by a week anyway, so I might as well just put this one up on the YouTube and nix early access completely. And remove from the $5 tier on Patreon the statement that you get early access to one week of my reaction videos, because that's not what you're getting anymore. And I don't know what I can exchange that for, or what I could do to produce enough value to be worthy of surviving. Because that's all I need. I would be doing this for free anyway. I just need to survive. And that's the thing that I said from the very beginning of this channel. I'm going to do this until I'm dead, because it's the right thing to do, is to talk about media as effectively as I can. It's the right thing to do. And I'm going to do it until I'm dead. And I'm going to do it until I starve, until I cannot do it anymore. And I will run my beliefs until I tear apart. And I will throw myself into the impossible. And I will believe in all of the yous that believe in me. Because it's really hard to believe in myself. So show that you believe in me, and we'll see. And we'll see. Fuck. I'm just so scared. God damn it. God damn it. Thank you for writing your comment, Misan. I believe in you. You can do this. You can change. It's the smallest steps, and then the next step. Always the next step. It's the most important step a man can take. It's always the next one. Arrange yourself, stand against the evils of the world, and strive forward. You don't know which direction you're going. You don't know what forward means. You don't know what up is, but go. But go. Fuck. I wish I weren't so emotional about this, but it's my soul, man. It's my life. The whole thing, my literal living. It's terrifying. It's terrifying. Geno prototype. Man, IDK, if this is even the right place to voice my thoughts, or if anyone will see this, I see it. I see all of your comments everywhere. I see all of you. The ones that insult me, and the ones that praise me, and the ones that talk about how hard it is in your life, and the ones that talk about how well you're doing. I see it all. All the thousands of you, and the few of you that speak, that have the bravery to put yourselves out there, even the littlest bit. I see you and I read every single comment. Still, I read them all. I get notifications for them all. They flood my life. I live amongst you. You are my house. This is my temple. I don't know if anyone will see this, but your talk about people pursuing their dreams and not giving up on them makes me kind of sad. All my life, I felt like I never had any dream and only did what I thought people expected I would like. Ever since I was a kid, I never had a great desire or want for anything, so I was okay in just doing whatever. Now that I'm getting older, I can't help but worry that maybe I do have some dream that's locked away somewhere in my head, in some place I can't reach, and it's frustrating because everyone else seems to have something they want to do. Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. I'm gonna do my best. I'm sorry that I'm in such an emotional state, or I'd be able to evaluate you more effectively, but I'm still gonna try because I need to. And maybe if I can help you, you can help me. Maybe if I treat our connection like there's something transcendent here that's worth more than the money you can give me, maybe that there will be. Okay. Here's my supposition. I think that our society is built to crush your fucking dreams. It's built to crush you and mold you into something that can function as a cog in a machine, just like in Night City. It's quite likely and quite possible that you have never found or never done the thing that you are, I don't know about destiny, but most effectively structured in order to do. And I believe that that something exists for you. And so here's what your purpose is. I'm going to give it to you. Take it and run with it. Here's your purpose for the next hour, day, week, month, year, lifetime. Here's your purpose. Discover your purpose. That's your whole goal. It's the only thing that matters. Do the things that you need to do in order to survive. Don't literally fucking die in order to find it, okay? Only die once you've found it. In the meantime, survive, okay? If you don't have the thing yet, if you haven't found it, survive. And then spend all of your energy, everything that you don't have to spend on just survival, spend all of your energy on figuring out a way that you might be able to thrive. And so that means exploring yourself, and it means getting out there, because the answers aren't in here. They're not in yourself. They're not in your brain. They're in the way that you interact with reality and what it does to you. So here's a quick list of things that you might find. First is the massive umbrella category of arts, okay? And I don't just mean visual arts. I mean the visual arts too. I mean art, drawing, animation, sculpture, film, photography, all of the visual expression mechanisms. Try a couple of them, see if there's anything compelling in them. They're gonna be really hard, and you're gonna suck at all of them. When you find the one where it hurts, because it hurts you to suck at it. So you do it, you draw a face on a piece of paper, and immediately the face is awful, and so you go, oh god, that's the one. That's it. The thing that hurts you the most is the one to pursue. So pursue something in the arts. And then pursue talking to other people. And when you talk to them, figure out if they've got something that's driving them. And then steal it and try on their hat. Look at the hat that they're wearing where they're like, I do XYZ in my life. Go seek out the happiest people that you know and find out whether they're liars, because they might be. But seek out the happiest people you know and then steal everything from them as much as you can. And then, when you get the chance, evaluate your childhood. Because at some point in your childhood, I'll bet you dollars to donuts that there was something in the world that you found compelling. Whether it was sport or art or writing or reading or books or anime or video games or whatever. And also, I would evaluate whatever things you do to distract yourself. So, for example, if you have to go to work, right? When you come home, what's the thing that you're looking forward to? And I'll bet that it's media. I'll bet that it's video games or anime. That's my bet. Am I right? I don't know. But I'll bet that it's video games or anime. Well, there you go, man. That's what you're interested in. That's your passion. People are interested in the things they do when they don't have anything else that they're supposed to be doing. Okay? Whatever you do when you have free time is you. It's you. So change your attitude toward it and recognize that maybe it's actually the solution. Because in my life, for years, I was told by parental units and stuff that video games and media were the enemy, and yet they were the thing that I gravitated toward as the thing to distract myself from the things that I was told I was supposed to be doing. The world said the fulfillment that you will achieve is in having a job and following the things that we expect of you and getting a computer science degree and doing all of these things. And every time that I got a chance to take a class that wasn't part of my major, I took film classes. And every time I had a waking moment, I played video games or watched anime. And so I look back at myself, and it's so obvious that what I should have and wanted to and if I were aligned with myself would be pursuing would have been investigating and understanding my own proclivities and interest in this media and animation thing. And guess what? It's my life now, and it's the most fulfilling, most enlivening thing in the world. The thing that I was avoiding is my purpose. And so maybe that's true for you too. And I don't know. And maybe, maybe as a hypothetical, I don't believe that this is the case. It's just a stupid hypothetical. Maybe you got no passion. Maybe there's just no point. I don't fucking think so, man, because something in you screams out. That thing that you say, now that you're getting older, you can't help but worry that maybe you do have some dream and you just haven't found it. Bingo. Ding, 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 ding. That's correct. You do. You do have the possibility to find it. It's out there. You can be whole. You can be whole. You can be whole. Just drive. Just go. Go in some direction. Find the thing that might be compelling to you and move. The rest of the comments are about capitalism. That's a good place to leave. Thank you for watching this comment spotlight. I hope that it was useful. I hope that it was useful. I'm ignoring all the big and effective comments about capitalism. Okay. I'm again going to take a moment. For obvious reasons. I've literally got tears in my eyes. So I'm again going to take a moment. Thank you for watching. Alright, welcome back. Here we are, and we're good to go for Cyberpunk Edgerunners, Episode 4. Lucky you. Lucky us that we get to watch it. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting me on Patreon. At this point, I don't know what you'll get for that. But you'll get more of me, because I'll be able to survive and make more content. And that's what the deal is here, is that I'm going to make this content completely free. And then I'm going to ask humbly that if you have the means in any way, that you please buy me what is about a loaf of bread this month so that I can eat. And I'm not going to spend it on shitty bread. I'm going to spend it as well as I can, as effectively as I can, in order to make the best me that I can, so that I can make the best content that I can, so that I can make the best you that I can, so that I can make the best world that I can influence. So please consider supporting the Patreon. I don't know how else to incentivize you except to ask seriously. And so there I go, asking seriously. Thank you for even considering it. Let's watch some fucking Cyberpunk, eh? Get off this sad sack bullshit, eh? Shake it out a little bit, eh? Ooh, Cyberpunk Edgerunners episode 4. Here we go. Beep beep timer. What the fuck situation is this? I mean, David must be slowing down time a bunch. That's so sick looking. What the fuck? Alright, I guess we're gonna... Hey. Yeah, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here, etc., etc. Wow. Ugh. Down, down, down. Down, down. I love the angle to him. I mean, he looks so fucking angry. Or driven more than angry. Almost like he's got a fire inside of him, you might say. Yeah, me too, man. Break, 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 and become. Fuck. I really like this show, man. I really like this show. Partly because it is destroying me. Alright, club scening, eh? Afterlife. Well, that's a great name. Gotta be on a job, right? Okay. Alright, we'll stay away from it, but... that is what he'd say. Kitty, kitty. Who's Kiwi? Is Kiwi the one with the mask? Oh my, oh, there we go. Hey! Oh! What? Well, that's confusing, but alright, good for y'all. Bad time. Call. Yes, it does. He wants the job, baby. Right, you told me. Distracted. It's all going on in the head. Hey, fine. Wow. David. Huh? Jimmy! I fucking love him. Fuck. Holy shit. Rip. Huh? Just surviving is enough, man. Yeah. You gonna get churned up, bud? Ah, Cyber Psycho Open Watson. Indeed. This is background stuff. Oh. Okay, so he walks by the cops and he's starting to feel that pressure and that paranoia. But that's good. What's up? Hi. Yes. Could you the gun thing? She's amazing. Well, bye. He loves hands, man. Fucking Kiriyoshi Kage. Yeah, if you want me to leave. It's bulletproof! Oh my god, it's so sick! Doink! She's amazing. I love her. I love her. I'm in love. I'm in love. And deep fear. Yep, walking out with money. Everything's going Nova, dude. Everything's going up gravy. Well, are you? Wait, that's the purple and the green. It's just Android 19. It's just immediately in my head. Or 17 or whatever. Whoa. You brought him in. Get him tired, bro. Wow. So we get to really see the interactions between these people. They all just fucking hate each other. Kind of. They don't, actually, but they're dealing with it. Bro. Bruh. Well. No, we're just going running, literally. Alright, we're acquiring the... Does he want it all his own body? No guns. I'll stick with what I've got. Interesting. Whoa! Holy shit. What the fuck? I don't understand what the mask things are. Maybe they'll be explained. Can't let your body die. The bio parts don't just go away, man. We've talked about that. Don't fuck with her, please. Oh, bye. What just happened? What was that? You just impressed somebody, didn't you? What's up? Don't leave your house without... Cocksock? Is that something other than underwear? Okay, do you take up the gun? Like, gun is also what killed his mom, right? In a lot of ways? In some ways. Yeah, do squats! Okay. So, we're doing the cycle. No answer. Okay, so this is a montage episode so far, leading us really deeper in. 480 for gas. That's low. That's very funny. I live in California and it's 5+. Uh-oh. Bye. With a fist in his face. Took it. She'll answer. Very true. I've met a couple of like 19-year-old girls. Oh, Mr. Longlimbs. What? What is this? Hacking complete. Yeah, and he's watching. Okay, hi. Yep, obsessive. Uh-huh. Yep, long limb techies. And get your fucking hands off the girl, dude. Yeah, what do you mean? What does that mean? No, they haven't. Exactly what you think. You haven't been treating her like a person. Not correctly. Interesting. Interesting. But he's not worth it. And so he's pushing to become worth it. That's not what that was. Mm-hmm. And this is massive relief for him, right? Because he thought that she was going and fucking him. Are you serious about this business? What are you aiming for? They're negotiating a relationship, man. This is stellar. This is stellar. Bullshit, dog. Yeah, we all got eyes. We see. Are you sure? Probably, but you gotta find out, man. How are you gonna find out? Oh, that was great looking. No. No, you suck, boy. The hip. It's all in the hip. You seem like a good boy, not an edgerunner. Hey, what do you mean? Oh. Oh, what are they vibing into? They were vibing with the sex girls. Okay, so they were taking him to the strip club, and he's learning from he's becoming part of it, you know? Yeah, it's hard. I don't understand her. You shouldn't have shared that. You shouldn't have shared that. Sick. But Becca is in the realm as well, right? So that's pretty interesting. Now he can't do it. And a good thing too, and an interesting thing too. Okay. All right, here we go. Conversation time. We stop the run. We get to a place where we can look out over the wide unknown. We can actually speak. Because he's been working it out. I'm here. She's watching again. Oh, it's perfect, man. Gambling? Was that a three-tittied woman? What the fuck? I don't even know what just happened, but that was rad as shit. Oh, she's so fucking cool. Ah! Nope. Jesus. Huh. She didn't. No, dude, she just didn't open up to anybody else. She opened up to you, dude. You think she doesn't like you, you fucking idiot? Oh. Blah, 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 blah. Exactly, that was real, dude. Oh, God. It's like blood. And he's just watching it, right? And she's watching it, too. Oh, here's how you get better. Respect and responsibility. And then... I don't know. Yeah, no answer! Ooh! And then she doesn't know. Wow. He's going for it, yeah. He's going for the implants, too. So that he can keep... Oh, boy. But it's also the training regimen and stuff. And it's all about running. It's all about being able to go faster and further. Wow. long as you produce value, I don't give a shit about you. Dink, and we get an understanding. Oh, and now we're in the same realm, man. He's in it, dude. All right. Is that ER? Is that what that is? Edgerunner. Pearson? Puh. Well, nobody gives a shit about the street. Okay, that's Pilar. Cool. Uh-oh. Cyber Psycho, Cyber Psycho, Cyber Psycho, Cyber Psycho. Oh. And that's where we start. Holy shit. Just in a flash. He's gone. And now we're in danger. Three eyes. He's already gone into... Is he in Sandevastaning automatically? Or is this just move? No, he's just frozen. Holy shit. He's gonna have to save the girl, too. You gotta move. Save yourself. Save yourself. Dink. Sandevastan on. Holy shit. Holy shit. Let's go. And that's her brother. Whoa, no. Yeah, Becca, you're gonna die. Can't stop her. Fuck. Stole the gun too. Holy shit. Oh, and he's busted. The thing that he relies on doesn't work. He has to hack Becca. Wow. Oh my god. Right, priorities. She's making a plan. Be careful, man. It didn't work. It didn't work and he knows. Go, 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 go. You, David, run. His speed is what matters now. What he learned is what matters. David, no. Sandevistan. Dodge it. And he'll choose to use the gun. Can you use it? Can you use it? Can you use it? You can use it. But did he fire? He did. In the smile. There's a reason to use the violence that you can't use. That's unethical. That's unacceptable. There's a reason. Fuck. Fuck. Is that enough? Will the arm still go off? Okay. Kiwi is the one with the mask. Main knows what's up. Okay, that's Dorio. Sorry. I don't know who any of these fucking people are. 'Cause it is. Which part is he referring to? Yes, us again. Fuck off. Why does she need a ripper? Trust. You're not a rookie anymore, right? Oh, and she's out. Hi. Happy. Empty. So... Do it, balls, dude! Grab hold of your dick and walk forward! Yes! Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's fucking go. Man, I love the light framing, green, purple. Ugh. Music kicks in. Smooth jazz, baby. Yeah, I'll bet. The dream? Yeah, I believe it. Actually. I believe that too. I'll just have to trust you. Right, you've already been betrayed once. Why not once bitten, twice shy? I couldn't. Yeah. No. He was just sad, dude. Betrayed. Yeah, you kind of were. And she's right, yeah. He wants to connect, man. Green, purple, back and forth, back and forth. Exactly. Liar. No, he's not. Gallo. In Promare. Kamina. Just that type. A hero type. And heroes die. Heroes aren't mercs. But it'll corrupt you. But it'll corrupt you. You're pure. She doesn't want you to die. Yeah, she thinks you're better than this life. Ah, the rocket? She says as the rocket goes off, she ignores the future that's there. Yeah! You better keep it. And there it goes. Yep. A dream beyond us, a shooting star that is man-made, that is going to the place beyond this place, that is something separate. He will, though. But he will, though. This story doesn't... Green and purple come into one frame, and they mesh, and it's one. Fuck you, Imaishi. And we switch it, and they're on the moon now. They're already there. They're already there because they just found the truth by accepting each other. They're already there. They don't need to go somewhere else. They just found it. They are somewhere else. It's just the perspective shift. It's the willingness to connect and be vulnerable. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Wow. Oh my god, wow. It's perfect. That's perfect. Holy. Forgive me for letting you down. Just right. She's given up on her dreams. She's asleep. And he walks in and wakes her up. When we started this episode, I didn't really know where it was going. It was kind of hectic and kind of discombobulated because it was all these different sections. But all these tangled threads wove together into literally the weaving together of our two core characters, our deuteragonists, our two primary... I don't think that's actually right. Our dual protagonists might be more correct. Our two primary characters get woven together in all of these little threads in an immaculate way. I mean, that was really something. That ending sequence as the running comes to a conclusion and we reach some kind of something and it comes to a head as he hesitates at the doorway and what could have been almost doesn't happen. It almost doesn't happen because he almost doesn't have the guts just to ask for a real talk. But he does ask for the real conversation, the real communication, and she's more than willing for it. She's desperate for it. Because all of her layers of self-protection and not wanting to hurt him, and it's all hedgehogging, right? There's the soft, squishy hedgehog with spikes all over it, and hedgehogs need hugs, but hedgehogs are covered in spines, and so are other hedgehogs. And so how does a hedgehog hug another hedgehog? How do you hug another hedgehog? You can't. They're made of spikes. Not unless you reveal your whole self and you make yourself willing to be impaled on them and destroyed by their spikiness. And you just have to hope that they're willing to too, and that they will open themselves as well. And then in your mutual vulnerability, you can find connection and become something more. Brilliantly framed over the episode. Let's go through it. So we start out discombobulated. We start out with this flash of the unknown, and this is a stellar narrative device. I mean, it's a common one. Is like you start in media res, and then you jump into the past, and you bring us up to it. But when you're gonna do like a montage-y, collaboration-y, or collated episode where it's a bunch of different chunks of different things that are all mishmashed and then they all slowly come together, this is a great way to have that moment of framing. And it's exactly the transition point where we go from a bunch of random things are going on to one thing happens and everything is contiguous from then on, right? The moment that the whole Cyber Psycho incident happens and this moment happens that we're introduced to before, and so we recognize it when it comes up, that's when we transition from all of this is background to this is happening right now, right? What's happening right now is this moment. We jump into the past to demonstrate how we got here, and then we come back to this moment, and everything beyond this moment is change. Bingo. Bingo. And it's gorgeous. I think it's really cool. And in this moment, as his eyes close, we go into the OP, and the OP drives through. And I gotta say again that I really like the OP and that it grows on me every damn time I watch it. All right, bars and clubs and stuff. Jobs and things. The relationships between these characters are quite interesting. I don't know what to know or think about them. They seem weird. You know? They seem really weird. They seem mutualistic to some extent, but like odd. The whole punch you in the face and then lick the blood off your face stuff, it's like there are some layers of weird shit going on here. I don't have anything against consensual like kink or like even violence if it's consented upon, right? And it seems to be in this circumstance. I'm not trying to say that it's wrong in any way, shape, or form. It's just interesting that we demonstrate the way that these characters interact and the way that they relate sexually to one another. The way that Pilar relates sexually to the other characters and to himself. The way that these two characters who are part of the core of the team, right, relate sexually to each other and are utilizing each other. I don't think it's necessarily wrong. I just don't. But it is odd. And they're talking about all the ideas. Should I dig deeper? No. It's on them to give us a lead. And there's something else about it, which is the language that all these characters use to describe each other. Ass munch, fucking bitch, fucking asshole, piece of shit. They all fucking hate each other. They all just hate each other. Not like hate, but they don't like each other very much. They're just dealing with each other because they have to. There's no connection. There's no... Where is the love? It doesn't exist. It's only exploitation and sex, mostly. I pay you to check boxes off my list. Meantime, you and me, let's get down. He reaches for her. She punches him in the face and is like, okay. And then she makes out with him. It's like, whoa, okay. What the fuck? And of course, this is when he calls in and he's looking for a gig. He's looking to do stuff. And of course, he's like, dude, you're desperate for Eddies. What the fuck is going on? You're just trying to get this money. And it's like, no, I'm not just looking for money. I want to get better. I need to get better. And we're framing the ashes in the same frame, right? Like there's something that I need to be able to prevent this sort of a thing. Well, over the course of the episode, he ends up being able to prevent that sort of a thing, right? No, it's not his mom isn't killed by a cyber psycho exactly, but she's killed by an insane symptom of the system and guns to some extent. And so he he saves a thing from the other thing, in a way. He saves the other girl, the representation of the feminine, who he is able to save, and prevents her from getting dead. The interaction with this guy is fantastic. Davis? Davis! Yeah, I get it. Hilarious. Absolutely wonderful. And he's just pissed. He doesn't care about him, doesn't care about any of it. Just pissed that he didn't bring him the limo and the thing that's worth more money. And we'll see if it wasn't just beginner's luck. And he's like, what do you mean? He goes, nothing personal, kid. It's just that people fucking die a lot. And it's just beginner's luck probably that you survived your first mission at all. You're probably just going to die in the next one. And that's what he says. We'll find out as you run through the ringer. Are you the shit, boy? Or are you just a shit stain waiting to be scraped up off the pavement? We'll find out. And guess what? He's actually correct. He's actually right. Not that that's ethically right, but that's the truth of the world in a lot of ways. The world is a big meat grinder, and you're going to find out whether you're a bone that doesn't get crunched up or if you're just flesh. Because if you don't have something more serious to yourself than flesh, you're going to get dissolved by the chaos of the world. Torn apart. I don't really know exactly how to read this scene of him hiding this from the cops. It seems pretty simple. It's like, well, the police are an authoritative system that's a problem, and so he's having to hide his ill-gotten gains from the state, and that makes sense because they're not, you know, they're corrupt too. But, and it's also, the cyber psychos keep popping up, and flatlined a two-man patrol, saw the scrolls, poor fuckers, a single launcher hit turned them both into canned easy beef, which I assume is fake beef or whatever, you know, canned spam or whatnot. So this is just background buildup, as far as I can tell. It's that cyberpsychosis seems to be growing all over the place. And so there's more tension in the whole world, and it's coming to like a head maybe. And there might be something to that, like really something to that. It might be like an experiment being done by one of the corporations or something like that. It might be something more insidious or bigger, because we keep doing it in the background as this problem that keeps rearing its head and becoming interesting. But we shall see as we go ahead. This open up into girl in her underwear, or whatever the fuck it is, with gun in face is hilarious. It's just like, okay, could you get the gun out of my face? And she is just, what's up, Chum? How's the fucking going, boy? How you doing? And the answer is better. I would be doing better if there weren't a gun in my face. Becca is amazing, and her gum-chewing hilarity is fantastic. I think we expressed pretty effectively that her body is something made and chosen by her, at least the way that I see it. Regardless, he gets the package, got you something fucking finally! Oh, 6 cyber hands! And this is actually really important because it gets us closer to this guy. It gets us closer to understanding what he cares about and who he is. Bigger cyber hands, because we've only seen him really like sort of assault Lucy and be kind of creepy and kind of a scumbag in a lot of ways. But then we see that he's got this mutualistic scumbaggy relationship with a person who it seems is actually his sister. It seems that like they're actually maybe blood, right? And they've got this fucked up like I fucking hate you, man relationship that's, well, it's pretty perfect for siblings. I think it's right on the money in a lot of ways. So it's very fun. And she pops over a deposit of 20 grand credits or whatever, right? Because he goes from, no, it was just 500. Okay, well, that's not nothing. David, you're fucking adorable. You don't get it at all. He's walking around with a big smile on his face. He's made it, right? He's doing it. It's going. And he gets the "you free tonight" from Lucy. And immediately his face goes, It's like exactly the scene that we get in Mushoku Tensei, where Eris says, like, well, maybe sometime in the future we'll do the fucking, right? And Rudy is like, man, you really shouldn't tempt me like that. And then he steps outside and he's like, woohoo! Yay! And just goes off running into oblivion. It's exactly the same in a lot of ways, and I think it's perfect. I think it's exactly right. Why does this make me think of Android 19? I'm just gonna, it's not Android 19, that's the chubby one. Dragon Ball Android, no, 18. Yes, but she's not wearing that. What the fuck am I thinking of? I'm just thinking of Piccolo, huh? I'm actually just thinking of Piccolo? Purple and green? Okay, I'm just thinking of Piccolo. It's just that she's wearing like a Piccolo outfit is the thing. She's just Piccolo cosplaying. Great. Amazing. She also has the hair that's sort of similar to Android 18, so I mixed it up in my head brain because it's been a long time since I've DBZ'd. You showed up, and she's surprised from the outset. Okay. Huh. Well, that's stage 1. So let's take this as some relationship advice. I'm going to use this. I'm going to steal all of it. First off, show up. Pretty important. Second, be willing to do the hard thing. And she says, well, I don't really want... Baka, it's not like I really want to go running with you or anything. Maine just told me that I had to. He's like, what? Maine did? And we get the flashbacks and we're weaving it all together. You got to take in this stray. He's your responsibility. Come on, man. Walk the dog. Tucker him out. Come on. And she's like, ass munch. Come on my day off. All right. Well, you're stuck with me. Sorry. And she goes, you suck, man. You're a piece of shit. Basically, essentially, the feminine looks at him. The girl that he's most interested in the entire world looks at him and goes, you ain't good enough. And what does he start doing immediately? He starts doing push-ups and pull-ups and crunches. Yeah, dog. That's the one. That's the one. That's the answer, man. You go up to a girl and she goes, sorry, you're not it for me. It's like, okay, is she wrong or are you? Now, maybe neither. Maybe you're just not it for her and she's got an attuned sense to whether you two will work out. And maybe she's wrong, but maybe she's not. Probably she's not wrong. Because I think women are pretty intuitive about these things. Maybe better than men at it? I don't know. But, you know, a lot of girls will say things like, a kiss is all that they need, and they know immediately that it's gonna happen or not gonna happen. Like, immediately. And many women just being near you, pheromonally, will immediately know whether you're it or not it. Or seeing you, they'll know immediately. Your first interaction and first impression does all that. And it could be wrong, that could be weird, but we're built to judge and pattern recognize, and I think that women are really good at pattern recognizing men. They get a lot of practice at it, as far as I can tell. Attractive women get approached fairly frequently. And so they get their filters built up pretty well. But anyway, she goes, you're not it. What's your answer? Rail against the way that the women are going, oh, how dare they? I deserve them, but I'm it. Well, clearly you're not. Maybe you should change yourself instead of trying to change them. Try that. And maybe you just didn't find the right girl. Viable too. But maybe going and doing some push-ups and pull-ups and changing yourself out and getting chromed up in a way, getting a little stronger, a little bit more capable. Maybe that would be the way to go. You're primed to tweak out. And he's like, God damn it, I'm not weak. Stop ignoring me like this. And at the same time, we have this other conversation, which is, Maine is telling him, you need to pack heat. You need a weapon. So what's a weapon? What's a gun? It's an armed gear. It's the same thing in Sympho gear. It's the ability to hurt people. Like, really hurt people. And it's the same ability to hurt people that has hurt you and hurt your mom. And so he wants no part of it. He can't even raise the damn thing. He immediately is like, I can't do it. I'm going to stick with the Sandevistan, and that's how it's going to be. We cut from there to here. I'd really like to know what these faces are. They seem to be stealing tech from people, and I have this supposition that the people with these faces on are all part of some conglomerate or something, like they're like a group mind or maybe something like that. I don't know, but they're doing this horrifying surgery thing, and we're obviously here for some other reason in order to get in here and get some stuff done. We fry them all, and it's pretty dope. It's pretty badass, and we wipe from there in. Hey, so you were real, all of this? And he asks, why would net runners have to, run? And she says, net or edge. So in the net completely or on the edge where you're in between the real world and the digital. A runner is a runner and good stamina can take you far. The physicality matters. The ability to be fast matters. The ability to continue on matters. The strengthening of yourself matters. And so what I would say as my interpretation of this in the world is, if you dedicate yourself entirely to strengthening only the part of you that is digital, the part of you that is mental and ethereal and thinking and all those things, you'll actually get weaker at it because you will have sacrificed your physical. And the truth seems to be that you are a harmonious entity, and if your physical being is not stacked well, is not well organized and stable, your homeostasis is off, and your ability to think falls apart. So my supposition is this: if you're spending all your time in only the mental, digital, fantastic worlds, and ignoring, and if you are, I think if you are, if you're ignoring your physicality, your real embodied nature, the space around you and what you can control, you're desk, your room, the framing of everything, your body, your eating habits, your self-care and hygienic habits, keeping yourself clean, keeping yourself capable, improving your stamina and endurance and physicality and literal strength and ability to withstand literal real pain. That will serve you, if you can improve all those things and you don't ignore them, it will serve you incredibly well in all fields, including the purely psychological one. That's the idea that I seem to get from Lucy here, is that if you have all your things stacked up, if you run, in this circumstance, if you run in one frame, you get better at running in all the frames, and you get faster and more resilient and more stable at everything because it's the same psychological circuit that you're using. The same circuit that I use now every day when I step into a cold shower, a thing that really sucks. It's not fun, man. It really sucks to step into an ice cold shower. It's like, ah! But the same circuit that I use that's like, thing in front of me that I don't want to do, go, is the same circuit that I use for everything in front of me that I don't want to do, whether it's cleaning my room or lifting a weight or talking to a cute girl or whatever it is, or learning something or changing my mind about something or communicating vulnerably or trying something as insane as making my Patreon free or making all my content free, essentially. Insane ideas. Insane, absurd, stupid. But what's not stupid is that circuit of stepping into the unknown, even though it's painful, and striving, that circuit is reinforced every time I do the thing, regardless of what circumstance and framing I do the thing in. Regardless of whether I do the thing when I get into the shower, or I do the thing at the gym when I go and I approach a weight that I have never lifted before and I try it, or if I go and I approach a girl that I've never spoken to before who scares the shit out of me, because when I see a beautiful girl at the gym, she scares the absolute shit out of me, down to my spine, like my base animal self is like, ah, God, it's like, the idea is Medusa is the woman with the head full of snakes, right? Who she looks at you and you freeze. That's the myth, man. That's the myth. And how does the myth go? It's, is it Perseus or Theseus? No, Theseus is the Minotaur, so it must be Perseus. Medusa slain by Perseus. Okay. He sets out with the aid of the gods who provide him with divine tools. While the Gorgons sleep, the hero attacks, using Athena's polished shield to view the reflection of Medusa's awful face and avoid her petrifying gaze, while he beheaded her with a harp, an adamantine sword. A harpa is a type of sword or sickle, a sword with a protrusion on the... It's a curved sword for reaping wheat. It's the same weapon that was used by Kronos to castrate and depose of his father Uranus. And it was provided to Kronos by his mother Gaia. And so on, and that is the same sword that Perseus uses to destroy the Medusa. But the thing about the Perseus myth, nobody thinks about the harp as the myth for Perseus. People think about the shield, because the shield is the important part. You look at the woman through a reflection, okay? And the reflection is a mirror for seeing yourself. Right? That's what a mirrored shield is. It's a shield that you use to protect yourself that lets you see through a reflection, through a different angle. You see the woman who petrifies you from a different angle. And that's exactly right. Because men, when we see a beautiful woman, which is what Medusa is, she's a beautiful woman with a head full of snakes, with a bunch of ideas that are complicated and scary, because that's exactly how we see women. We use our predator detection circuits and our scary detection circuits to some extent to see people who are interesting and dangerous to us, and we don't know what they are, whether they're banana tree or snake. You just don't know. And so we use that we have that flight response, that freeze response, and that's exactly what happens when the big snake or the female gives you a look. And so you look at the mirrored shield, which is something that's a part of you, and you look into the mirrored shield and you use that to evaluate the world. You look at it through a different lens, a lens via which she could see herself, and a lens via which you can see yourself. You use that to reflect her gaze, and you can see her actually, and see her well enough to cleave her head from her body. That's the Perseus story. It's a really interesting story. It's a really interesting myth for a reason. So it's something like that. And so the mirrored shield of self-awareness and other awareness and greater awareness is what you use to overcome the cold shower difficulty that is going and approaching the terrifying opposite gender. something like that. okay, I'm sorry, I'll just say this right now. It's a super inarticulate idea that says a bunch of things in broad mythological strokes, and people are probably gonna hit me as like, bro, you're saying that all women are snake people? What the fuck is wrong with you? And it's like, no, I'm saying that mythologically, beautiful women do things to young men that cause young men to freeze, in general, and you have to be able to overcome that. Okay. And the whole point is that doing the thing in one circumstance makes you better at all the circumstances. So looking at things through mirrors and other lenses in many circumstances makes you better at doing them in the one circumstance, and striving forward into the unknown makes you better at striving forward into the unknown no matter where you're doing it. So keep doing it and find the smallest conceivable ways that you can do it and fucking do them. Cold showers are, well, it's like 10 minutes of pain, okay? It's like max 10 minutes of pain if you take really long showers, and you won't, because if you get into a cold shower, you're going to try to get out of there as fast as you fucking can, my guy or gal. Cold showers are good for women too. You should be getting in them. They're great and awful, but you're going to move fast. So 5 minutes of pain. What if, here's a proposition for you, what if you could sacrifice 5 minutes of pain to make your whole life immeasurably better? Would you? How much is 5 minutes worth to you? How much is a comfy, cozy shower worth to you for a few minutes? How much are you willing to hurt? And you know that it's temporary, all right? You know that there's the chance to get out. All you have to do is get in. And then stay. And then keep moving forward. And keep running even though your lungs are burning and your legs are on fire and your side is stitching and you're dying. You keep going. How much could that 5 minutes change your life? I don't know. I think that taking the cold showers might change your life completely. Are you willing to sacrifice 5 minutes? Because that's way easier than trying to sacrifice your whole being for like a month, right? Like that's the thing that I've told you that I think you should do if you feel like your life is ended. If you feel like you have no goals, if you feel like there's no point and you're just slowly dying, take a month and let yourself die faster and see if you have the potential to do something else, something worthwhile. Pursue the worthwhile. Well, maybe a smaller sacrifice then. Maybe 5 minutes. Maybe 15 seconds. So that's your first goal. Turn your shower to as cold as it can get. And step into it and count to 15. Water on the head, water going down your body. You're gonna want to get away from it. Let it wash over you. 15 seconds. Try to make it to 15 seconds. If you can, see if you can go beyond your limits, beyond your goals even. 10 more seconds, 5 more seconds, 1 more second, 16 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Try 15 seconds. And then you can turn the water to hot and do the rest of your shower. You can have, and you'll go, oh, thank God it's warm. Oh my God. But try the 15 seconds. What do you have to lose, man? 15 seconds of pain? Of going, of being cold? Of being uncomfortable? What do you have to lose? Literally nothing. But you might have the world to gain, so run. Okay. Rad shit. Okay, we cut away. I don't even know what this scene is with the guys and the Becca, but we pop her out of Dodge real fast. And in the meantime, we get some respect from this girl who sees it. I don't really understand. And we're getting respect from Becca, which is interesting. And she's aligning with him, right? Like, she's not rejecting him. She's a part of it. Okay, so, and we cut back to the other thing. You don't fly your crew without cover from now on. You take your shit with you. Wallet, cocksock, and your damn iron. I don't know what he means by cocksock. He might just mean underwear, and I assume that he does. Wallet, underwear, gun. But it's kind of a good joke because that's what people say is like keys, wallet, gun, and I'm out. And some people who concealed carry think exactly that way, and it's quite interesting. But you carry your damned iron, and what it turns out that he does end up carrying the iron even though he's not convinced that he should be using it. Some people do just one thing, some people do just one thing. But listen, man, you're a noob and you don't have enough, you don't have enough beef to you. All right? It's just like Lucy said, you're too small for this shit. You're not chromed out enough to survive in this world, man. So what do? You replace it with tools. And the tools that you use better be powerful. And so here's the most powerful tool for killing other people. It's a gun. And you need to carry it with you so that you don't die. Until that time comes, until you're capable, hold the backup plan. And this gun that he hands him is scarred and scratched, and it's a piece of crap. But it's been through some shit. It's a well-worn apparatus. It's a well-worn tool. Well used. It means that it's proven to some extent. There's something about it being battle-ready or battle used and battle-hardened, battle-tested. That's pretty good. And we cut away, and what is David doing with all of his free time now? Well, he's stopped sitting around staring into the abyss. That's what he's doing. Because that's what he was doing, right? He was sitting around staring at his mom's ashes going, wah. And I don't mean to diminish it. He has every reason to be grieving. The world is awful. Every reason to. But it's not helping. It's not helping. And the thing that helps is acting against it. Is pushing yourself. And so he starts pushing himself. And it's in large part, it's because of the rejection that he got from Lucy, right? It's because all these goals start aligning. Click, 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 click. And he starts to create this structure of self. And he's like, well, my physicality isn't good enough. I'm going to change it. Well, my tools aren't good enough. I'm going to change it. I'm going to learn. He's got the attitude, man. He asks how old she is. Pushes a question. We cut away from that to something else. The insane driving and the goofiness of it, right? Crashing into stuff and exploding it and running away from the cops and all the silliness. And then we get Maine as he's like a father figure in a way, right? He's in some sense, this is weird to say, but he's like the only somewhat corrupt patriarch of the whole Edgerunner group that's here, right? He's the leader. And he asks, how are things going with Lucy? And he's like, what do you mean? What do you mean going with Lucy? And he's like, bro, we all see this shit. You are obsessed with this girl, and good on ya. Have you not shot your shot yet? Have you not taken a swing at this? Are you stupid? There's a chance here, man. And, well, we'll get there. So he goes, and he steps back from it. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that way. I just meant your age and skills don't add up. And her response is, it's aptitude and hard work. So get that straight. Only an idiot, a gonk, would talk down to others based on age. Very true. Very true. I know a lot of older folks who don't have their shit together who will talk down to me on things that I definitely understand. I've got a guy across the street who is quite dismissive of my way of work. And I look at him and I'm like, you're running a failing self-developed contracting business, and the people that I know have hired you before and you made shit. You made garbage, and I'm out here working for myself, living a life, and you think you know better than I do simply because you're older. Not true. And then I have to catch myself too, because it's easy to go out there into the world and go, these fucking Zoomers don't know what they're doing. It's like, maybe they do, actually. Maybe they're not idiots, actually. Maybe they're figuring it out. And then beyond that, I've met a couple of people, boys and girls, who are quite young and have a lot more of their shit together than a lot of the people that I know. In the brews, the first girl that I asked out, where I said the brew is called I asked a girl out. And she eventually said no, but that's good. That's fine. I had the balls to do it, and that's what mattered, really. She's like 19, and she is ballin', man. She's teaching dance classes, runs her own business in multiple dimensions, and is a singer and performer who is grinding on the singing and performing stuff. She's got it down, man. Everybody who meets her and all of my friends who know her are like, yeah, that girl's going places. Guaranteed. No sweat, no problem, no worries about it. Just like, she's just building herself into the thing that when the universe provides her shot, right? Provides her shot, she's just going to be ready to step forward into it and go, yes, I am worthy of being bonko famous multimillionaire. I am prepared. And she will be. And she will be prepared. So, and she's 9 fucking teen, right? I've got a decade on her and I don't have half the shit figured out that she does. So it'd be pretty ridiculous to talk down to somebody like that and assume that they don't know what's going on just because of their age. And so that's exactly what's going on with Lucy. Experience and age don't always go hand in hand. It's aptitude and hard work. I'm good at it and I work at it. That's what it is. Lucky you. Gonks like who? Gonks like long-limbed techies. And she means him. And so we get this moment, which is hypersexualized, right? Deeply sexual moment. And I'm going to have to skip through a piece of this because there's titty. Which is really unfortunate because it's actually an important moment. Because David is watching her body now this whole time. And in doing so, he's admiring what she's built. Because that's part of it. Part of it is the sexuality that she has that's innate, that's just the feminine appeal of her. And part of it is that her well-muscled curves are something that she has built. And he's watching her build it more, right? By getting these adaptations or whatever's being done in this moment. He's watching her build it more. And he focuses on the titty, you know, he gets overwhelmed by that. But it's then that this guy goes for it and gets grabby, and we see David's face in that moment, and he is pissed. It's like, no, you cannot. How dare you? She's sacred, is sort of almost the look on his face. And this guy doesn't treat her that way, and she fries him. And that tells us something about her. We see his face here. Zap. And her eyes open because she is aware, man. She's not just a lamb to the slaughter. She knows exactly how people see her. Exactly. And she's got her boundaries in place, and she's got her shit together, and she's not letting it happen in that particular way. And we frame that in treating her right. And he's like, what the fuck do you mean? Y'all haven't fucked? Is basically, man, you're clueless. You need to grow a pair of balls. And I'm not just talking about edge running. It's in general, man. He still doesn't get it. What? I thought I saw the two of you hitting it off. Right. Pilar. But he misinterpreted. I thought I saw, he was hanging out with you. And she tells him exactly what's going on. Well, he acts like the mentor and all this shit, and that's okay, but then he tries to get grabby. So I fucking fried him. And immediately we get the response from, and she says this, and then turns the attention to him. We do so much with her eyes being forward or to the side looking at you. It's one of the two. It's one of the two. She's like all eyes. It's amazing. And you? What about you? Okay, but fucked off real quick after that, and then the thing I want to show is he immediately smiles and is like, oh. Yeah, he just laughs. Oh. Oh. You weren't just fucking anybody. Oh. Interesting. Are you serious about this gig? And what he does is he tries through his actions to demonstrate exactly how serious he is. And we see this moment of him like, dear feminine, please respect me. Brings her a grand sacrifice. And at the same time, in his words, he says, but I'm not into her like that. And he's trying to stay distant from it and be like, no, I'm not trying to exploit her. I don't want to be the guy who sexualizes her. That's not what I want at all. I don't want any of those things. And Maine, who's more experienced, is like, bruh, she wants connection as much as you do, dude. What are you talking about? You just got to go forward and try not to be evil. And he goes, come on, kid, we all got eyes. You're bullshitting. And so he reframes it. Well, okay, but she couldn't be into me like that. And it's like, you sure? How do you know? How do you know? Oh, it's just because you assume. You just assume. You just assume that she's too good for you. Well, what if every guy everywhere has assumed that either she's a piece of meat to be treated like trash, or that she's too good for them? What if she has no connections and she's desperate for them? What if you're just wrong? And Maine hits him with, yeah, probably, man. Because that's the truth. A lot of women out there, man. A lot of men, too. Probably the cute girl that you think is cute is not the girl for you at all. And the two of you could never in a million years have a good relationship. Probably. That's the probability. But what if you're wrong? And you just go off of the probably and say, well, probably this is never going to work, so I might as well not try. Well, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? Gretzky. Greatest hockey player of all time. By and large, as far as I know. He's the only hockey player whose name I know as a non-hockey fan. I know one hockey player's name, and his name is Wayne Gretzky. And he said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And that seems exactly right. Pre-fucking-cisely right. Yeah, probably, man. But you ain't never gonna find out if you don't try. Flash, flash. Yay, I did the thing. No, you suck still. Why do you ask about me as an edge runner and whether I'm serious? Well, you don't strike me as the type. What the fuck do you mean? You mean I'm not good enough? Is basically what it is. Okay, pink and green, sexualized. And this is Ditsy's Dizzy's bar, Busy's bar, Fizzy's bar, Tizzy's bar. I can't read the first letter. I think that all of these people, they're like vibing into a sex orgy together or something. Or they're all, because they're all flashing in unison, so they're all doing some BD experience together. I don't really know. I just don't know. But he's learning from the boys, and even though he doesn't like this guy very much because of the way that he's been interacting with Lucy, he's still learning from him because he's around him. He's learning from him. And part of that is so that we bond with him a little bit more, and we feel something when what happens later happens. And he's sort of, you know, he doesn't like him, but he's also looking up to him, and he's trying to learn from him, and he's kind of a cool guy in a weird way, and it's complicated, right? But there's at least the potential for maybe a friendship in the future. Maybe. And he hits us with, I'm sick and tired of trying to figure her out. You know, she said that she wants to go to the moon. He says it flippantly, and Main's like, what the fuck, man? Yeah, I mean, I guess it's her dream. I don't think he should have told Main this, actually. But it's important that he does, regardless. So we see all the ways that he's inept, and here it is. He raises the gun, and it's toward the exact situation, okay? The exact situation that he's going to see before. The dangerous bad guy, who is a cyber psycho, who is your target, is going to kill a girl who you care about. That's the framing. And he holds up the gun and he can't do it. The risk is too great. The chance that he might hit the hostage is too great. The causing of harm is too much. And it's that moment that we transition from there to the run stops. Because this whole episode has been about that run. We build up to it, and then we go on the run, and then we finish the run. Okay? The whole episode is them running together. Just like the whole of last episode was them getting into a car and having a crazy experience roller coaster together, and a whole big chunk of the first episode was her whipping him into her world on the roller coaster ride on the gurney. It's all the two interactions between these two human beings is the whole show. There are primary characters, and the way they spiral around each other produces all of the other interactions in the show. It's about these two characters. That's why they're front and center on all of the imagery. And it's mostly about David, because this is a show aimed at young men, because it's anime, and anime is aimed more at men than it is at women. But this is goddamn good for women too. This is good storytelling. I love you, Imaishi. My guy, dude. My fucking guy. So we slow it down and we stop. Huh. You turned out to be not a total failure. Interesting. And he's like, yeah, there's the chaff, you know, there's the, you're giving me shit, har. And she goes, no, I'm serious, man. Really didn't think you could keep up. And he's like, I don't go down easy. I'm serious here. I'm serious, man. I'm fucking serious. And again with the side eye, right? Not sure. But she's paying attention. She's not sure. She's evaluating. She's considering. She's paying attention. A lot of attention. Direct, complete attention. So we cut away. We get this weird scene with I don't even know what the fuck is going on here. It's weird as hell. We whippity warp, zippity zap, and this is amazing. So they're working in unison is part of what's going on here. And so we get to see how competent she is. And it's all in a singular pose. And it's a badass singular pose. It's really, really cool. And the way that her shoulder pieces frame together and the way that they've designed the whole thing is super sick. Super duper sick. And blam boom, bam blam, all is good. And we cut back to the conversation about the moon. Hey, she's never mentioned anything about that to me. Do you think she lied? And he goes, I don't know, ask. And he's like, man, she was probably just stalling me for time. That's what it was. That's what it was. It must have been that she was just trying to exploit me. That's what it was. Because that was what it was, right? But in the process, she revealed herself completely to you. And she revealed a part of herself that she's never revealed to any of her most trusted friends as far as we can tell. Took you to the moon, a special BD. And immediately, Main is like, you guys went on a date to the moon and you think she's not into you? The fuck are you on, boyo? What are you talking about, kid? You're just, what? It's like, man, she walked up to me and told me that she wanted to give me her number, but probably it's just because she's trying to exploit me or something. She's just lying. It can't be real. It's like, and everybody looks at you and is like, bruh, Girls don't do that, generally. You just... it's like you went out fishing, and a giant fish just flopped into your boat, and you went, oh, well, that was a mistake, obviously. Let me just throw this back, and I'll just wait for my family to starve. No! The fish jumps out of the lake, you go, hello, fish! Thank you! Thank you, lake! Thank you, fate! Thank you, everything? And so in this case, a real big fish just hopped into David's lap, and he's like, you know, actually... The fish is probably just wants to get to my box of worms, my box of bait. That's probably what's going on here. The fish doesn't really want me to kill it and eat it. It's like, you fucking idiot, eat the fish. Shit, dog. And we're partying with the boys, and Maine is watching. And this I really like. Here, this is your training routine. No more hand-holding, which is basically saying, like, I don't have the time to deal with you, but if you're really serious, here are the tools that you need, pursue this on your own, and come talk to me when you're capable, and we'll vibe. We'll see. She hands him the tool set, right? The bare minimum you should know. No more hand-holding after today, and we frame her here, because she's looking into the unknown now. Okay, so when you frame characters off-frame, so that their eye line goes out of frame, it's like looking into the unknown, and she's looking into the unknown that is David, and she's taking a risk. If you're serious, you're going to have to push hard to keep up. And then, because she doesn't have an and then, because she hasn't articulated it. But the answer is she's never found anybody who can keep up with her. And so there's hope in her speech, which is, and then maybe something interesting might happen if you could keep up with me. Maybe we could run together. And that's what it means, right? Maybe we could net run, edge run, real run, all running together. Maybe we could do all these things together. Maybe we would be on the same wavelength, and we could exist in harmony, is sort of the implication of what she says, at least as I see it. But she can't even say it, and wouldn't anyway. It's his to figure out. And so he looks across the wall of the unknown of the framing at her. She's on the one side, he's on the other side, framed opposite each other, looking away from each other, essentially. If you were to put both frames over each other, they're looking away from each other. Because they're both looking into the abyss. Because they can't see the gulf between them. And then she runs by and he watches her pass. And then what? And the rest of the episode is him chasing. Chasing the speed, chasing the synthetic lungs, chasing everything. He's like, get this shit in me, do more stuff. And he's like, you need the money. And so he goes and he gets the money and accomplishes it. And we see he's running like a beast, right? And there's some fraughtness to that. It's not quite him, but it's exactly right in that, you know, you find out that you're not fast enough at running to run with the girl that you really want to run with. And you run practice every day for a while until you're fast enough. And then suddenly you're fast enough, and that's pretty good. Okay. She's been running for a year, real natural. I don't give a shit about people's past, they just gotta pull their weight. And that suits me just fine, very cool. And they're on a vibe, right? They're vibing, they're hitting it off, and he's becoming part of the thing, and that's corruptive to some extent, but it is working. And he aerosols onto his jacket, onto his mom's jacket. So he takes the symbol of his mother, which is the jacket that he wears, and he inscribes upon it the symbol of the group that he is now a part of, Edgerunners, who run. So I'm reading the symbol now, because symbolism, young man and his symbols. It's kind of what I do, and it's what I'm trying to get better at, is reading symbols. So you get the line that is the future, that is the edge, right? And you have the E on the one side and the R on the other side, and you're an edge runner who crosses in between, but is part of the same thing. And he emblazons that symbol, which is also the symbol of the feminine that he's pursuing, and the identity that he's pursuing, on top of the layered foundations of his mother, right? On the shoulders of my mother's way of being, which is empathy and care, right, is essentially Gloria. I will put the symbols of my new way of being as an attempt to put this one layer on top of the other layer and figure things out. And that's just right. Justo righto. And we see the framing, and here it is. And there's the abyss, and there's the boy. And this guy, he goes and he gets too close, and everybody's ignoring it. And the most beautiful thing about this whole moment is we get build up. nothing, 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 nothing. Flash, bang, done. Over. And it's over. It's over in an instant. It's done. There's no judgment. He didn't do something particularly wrong in order to deserve this. It's just chaos. And he's just dead. And everybody flips their absolute shit. And we go into lockdown mode and we bring us into the present. We've done all of the articulation of the whole thing and we come back to the moment. And we start to move. David, you gotta move now. Get fucking moving now. And Main saves like 3 people's lives, one after another. Bam, kick. The most incredible and interesting framing, for sure. Oh, God. And even then we get, oh, man, I got some Pilar on me, as though it's like, you know, because death doesn't really matter in this world. Everybody dies. But, of course, it matters to Becca a lot. She's fucking insane. And what she says is, no, he was mine to kill. You had no fucking right, which is their own insane relationship, right? Crazy, you crazy little shit, you're gonna get yourself killed. Give her a lullaby, and she's got enough tech on her that she can be hacked, which is something about tech to remember. Where's Lucy, goes David. Where's Lucy? Where's the girl that I care about? Well, she's right over there, and she's in the line of fire, and she just tried to hackify him, and it didn't work. And so David fucking runs. The thing that he's been training to do is the thing that he needs to do. And all of this is like before the body has even fallen over or whatnot. Hey, asshole. And he takes the hatred upon himself and he calls the vampire upon him. I say vampire just because of the fangs. He calls the monster upon him. And he zips into Sandevistan to dodge the bullet, flippity whip. And here's the moment. He pulls out the gun he's been given, the tool that he cannot use, the ability to cause harm that he refuses to take up. And now, in the circumstance where he is able to cause harm, to prevent harm to the person who is, at this point, representative of his mother, and representative of the feminine, and representative of everything that deserves to be protected in the world, is Lucy. And he struggles with that. And he struggles with seeing the reflection of his mother and her death. And we get his eyes, and it's the same frame as the one where he was looking at Maine going, give me a chance, man. It's the same idea. It's David versus himself. It's not him versus the world or versus this cyber psycho or versus anybody else. It's versus himself and his own compunctions, his own inability. And so he makes his choice and he pulls the trigger and he saves the girl. This is what the hero does. You have to become a little bit of the monster, right? And so he becomes a little bit of a monster, and he's pulled his first trigger. Literally, his first time ever is to kill a person. Now, it's not a person, it's a danger monster. It's a dragon. It's the unknown. But he kills it in order to save something worthwhile. He does the calculation, and he chooses. And he's brave enough to choose. And he pops over, and his immediate next step is, are you okay? And she looks up at him with a smile on her face, a little weird, and says, I'm fine. And he's absolutely, oh, thank gosh. Oh, thank goodness. That's all I cared about. And so each of them reveals themselves in this moment, because David realizes that's exactly what he cares about. And she looks up at him. Again, her eyes are evaluating, shocked and interesting. And then the blood flows down, probably because of the hack that she did. And then we get the moment of dink dink, it's back. The head is not enough, and Maine saves, which is good shit. And of course, miserable bitch, and everything keeps going, and she shoots him as well, and there's no respect for the bodies or anything, but fair enough. And she spits out her gum because the childish thing is no more. We get a reach out from a female too. We get a don't touch me. You're hurt, you need a booster? No, I'm good. All right, take her to the Ripper Doc. And someone's going to have to explain this. And then Maine is making these decisions, right? First, the decision, you need to go run with David, right? And then the second one, you need to go with Lucy. Maine is doing the thing that somebody in power should be doing, which is arranging the relationships under him so that they work effectively. He's kind of subtly pushing people together in certain directions because he's a good person to have at the top of the hierarchy. You know, there's a hierarchy built into this little structure of Edgerunners. They're a team, but they have a leader, and he's a good leader. He talks to his people. He tries to understand them to some extent. He says he doesn't give a shit about where they came from, right? But he does give a shit about how they are now and whether they're capable. And he does give a shit. So he says, go with him. Go with him. No worries. Saw what you did back there, dog. It's high time you stop thinking like a rookie. With blood all over his face, David is not a rookie anymore. That's exactly it. He has been inducted into the Society of Murderers. That is to say, he's a man, essentially. An adult, you might say. Because he's harnessed a bit of monster. He's harnessed that ability to kill. He's not a rookie anymore. Back to the Ripper dock. She goes in alone, and you have to. Everyone leaves him behind with her. He's so happy to see her. And it's quiet and it's awkward and she's looking away and he doesn't know how to broach the gap, right? She's not paying attention to him. She's in her own head. Obviously, some shit just went down and she doesn't know how to approach the gap either. Here's fine. Night. So, here you are at the awkward... Now, this is a weird way to phrase it, but you're at the awkward situation where you drop the girl off at her door after a date that went oddly. Do you make a move or not? He almost doesn't. He almost lets her walk away. And the feeling is that, my feeling is that, if he lets her walk away right now, none of this ever happens. Ever. It's over in this moment, and she knows it too, and she's waiting. Waiting. And her eyes are out of frame. Can we talk? And she steps out, and her eyes are watching. Yeah, been waiting for you to ask. So here we are again. And we're framed. He's looking straight at her, she's looking at him, and out at the city. The rocket is in the background. Green on one side, pink purple on another. Her color, his color, her color, okay? These are their colors. It's their representation of self. With all the night sky behind them and all the skyscrapers behind them. Darn, it's cloudy. We can't even see the moon. Heh heh, and he tries to bring up something mutual. That was fun. I had something I wanted to talk to you about, too.
I know how it must look, but
it's true what I said then. I wasn't just lying. I actually meant it. And in a way, this is layers of apology, is like, I'm sorry that I didn't mean it. I was serious. I do have this dream. It's stupid, and she thinks her dream is stupid. She really does. And that's why it's the first time she's told anyone, because when you speak out a dream like that, it becomes manifest, and other people will go, you're an idiot. Yeah, that's never going to happen. And then your dream dies. You can only hold it if you foster it. It's part of the reason that we say, like, when you wish upon a star, don't tell anybody what you wished for, right? Don't say what you wished for. It's part of the reason for that idea. Like, once you say the wish, it can't come true. Because it's ephemeral. You can't even hold on to it. And shooting stars don't stay in the sky. They're there for an instant. You only catch glimpses of them. And David caught only glimpses of her hair, right? Before we actually meet her and start to understand her, it was just glimpses. Shooting stars. Possibility. So, it was actually the first time I ever told anyone. And he sort of sighs in relief and goes, well, that's good. I like that. I like that you weren't lying to me. And she's okay, but what if I'm lying now just to convince you again? And, well, in a world where everybody lies about everything, that's a reasonable supposition, right? Oh, yeah, you might be just lying to me again for some ulterior motive that I can't explain. And he goes, nah, I decide to trust you, is essentially what he says. I doubt it. And this isn't actually what he means. It's not actually that he doubts it or that he just doesn't see it. It's that he's decided to trust her, actually. He says, I don't think you're lying. I think you're real. I think you're real, and I want to know what's real there, and I don't want you to couch it behind bullshit, and I don't want you to pretend that it's a lie or a falsehood. I want to know the real you. I doubt it. And she says, you're crazy, kid. You're fucking crazy, man. Why would you think that? Everybody in this world lies. Nobody's serious. And she laughs, and it's almost a cry. Man, you should have said something earlier. Why? This would have made it so much easier on me. It's like, well, why? Well, I couldn't. Why not? Because you were mad at me. No, I wasn't. Yes, you were. Well, okay, maybe I was. He's like, but I'm not holding a grudge. You could have just talked to me. And that's true too. It's not like I'm holding a grudge. And she freezes. She doesn't have anything to say. And so he backs it up, right? He says, my actions prove it. My actions prove it. I wouldn't have jumped in front of that raging psycho to save you if I didn't care about you. And her answer is, yes, you would, actually. You're too hero for your own good. You dive into the fires, man. You're a liar. You're the guy who jumps into the fire. Even though you know you're going to get burned. So are we back? You're just that type. You're a good boy. So are we back to you're no merc? I think I can do it. And she says, it's not whether you're capable. I know you'll be capable. I know you can do it. But I don't want you to die. And the phrase is, you don't make a name for yourself as a cyberpunk by how you live. You make a name by how you die. And I don't want you to die this way, man. I care about you too much. It's not what you deserve. And she tries one last time to say, stay away from me. I'm a hedgehog. I'm covered in spikes. Don't you get it? You're just gonna get hurt, man. Don't come close to me. You're just gonna get hurt, man. Walk away while you still have the chance. And the rocket begins to take off. So, now that the rocket begins to take off, it's in motion, okay? And there's a time limit before the rocket leaves the frame, essentially. The framing device. Literally the frame of our world. What the hell are you talking about? How am I different? And she says, I've got nowhere else to go as the rocket takes off, proving that she's incorrect, that there is another way to go. And she's looking right at it. I've got nowhere else to go. And it's the transcendent Maishi cross of light as well, okay? The cross in the image, fing ding, transcendent right above her, and it's cutting her off at the head. Then we're exactly the same. No, we're worlds apart. In what way? She grabs at her head because she actually doesn't have an answer. How are we worlds apart? I just have this feeling. And so he says the craziest crazy thing. I'm going to make your dreams come true, is what he says to her. Girl, you've got dreams and they matter, and I'm going to make them come true. I'm going to fly you to the moon, Sinatra style. Oh, and the music is kicked in. That's a promise. And in their kiss, the rocket takes off, and the sky... Now, this is some movie magic bullshit stuff, right? The sky is not clear. The sky is all cloudy and unknown. The moon cannot be seen. The dream is ephemeral. You can't reach it because you haven't decided upon it. You keep denying its existence. And he says, no, I promise it. And they bind together. And not only is the sky clear completely, not a cloud in it. The dream, the vision, the path forward, literally a road forward blazed by this rocket through the sky, into the stars, into the unknown. The path is opened by their kiss, by their mutualism. And not only is it clear, the moon is impossibly close. It's right there now. You could reach out and touch it. By making her a promise, he brings the thing from impossible and clouded to being possible and right within reach. And then we do the most incredible thing that I've ever experienced. First, we show pink and green in one upon her face, right? She goes from one color to two because she's a unity duality now. And he goes from one color to two because he's a unity duality now. They're melded. The two colors have melded. They're both one. And they embrace, and they're not on Earth anymore. They're on the moon. They're already there. That's what's so crazy here. This is so insane. This is the most beautiful fucking thing that I've ever seen. The decision to go to the place that you want to go is getting you to the place that you want to go. It gets you there just by making the choice. And now, instead of them being at the bottom with the road blazed in front of them, their shadow casts the pyramid at which they stand on the top, on the horizontal edge that divides reality from fantasy, and they are sitting on the impossible. On the fantasy. That's what they're built on now. They're built on a fiction, on a story, on a dream. And it's the most stable structure of all, is the fictional story, the dream. And all the earth lies before them. And they are on the moon, man. They're out of the world now. Her dream was to go somewhere else. She said, I have nowhere else to go. And she's somewhere else. She's found a place to go, and it's into him. It's into their togetherness. That's the most interestingly articulated symbolic representation of a romantic pairing and a choice to drive toward goals together that I have ever seen. It is a transcendent ideal that all of us should strive to achieve in our relationships, especially our sexual and romantic relationships with the people that we want to form lives with. This is the ideal. This is it. And Imaishi represents it immaculately. I don't want you to die on me. I won't. And there's no greater way to almost guarantee that you will, actually. Because the road that you're on isn't a road that you succeed on. Because your definition of success isn't quite correct. No matter how good you are, you're not going to live forever. And by choosing to step into the impossible, you are sacrificing yourself. And so, like all of our great mythological stories, by choosing the worthy sacrifices, David is on the path to sacrificing all of himself now. And I think that with this episode, it is cemented into my mind. Please do not confirm or deny in any way what I am saying right now. I don't want to know. Not until the story tells me. Let the story tell me. But this episode cements into my mind that David will not survive this season, because we know that Night City chews people up and spits them out. And isn't that the nature of the world? Isn't that the nature of the world? Night City chews us up and spits us out. The world that we're in is greedy and chaotic and murderous and destructive and insane. And nobody gets out alive. You just see how far you can get. And whether you can get the people around you a little bit further. And maybe, in our real world, maybe you can set up the way of existence to be just the slimmest bit better for the next generation. Just like your mom tried to do for you. Even though you didn't understand it then, you might come to understand it now. So what do we take away from this to the real world? Well, we can take away all the things about romance, absolutely. But the broader picture is other things. It's first, find something worth fighting for and then fight for it. Destroy yourself and rebuild yourself in the process of fighting for it. That's what David does to be able to run with her. Because she's already running. And she's running alone. And he wants to run with her. And so he does everything in this episode in order to do so. And then strive. And then move into the unknown. Even if it's risky. Even if it's dangerous. Even if it's impossible that it might work. Even if you are certain that it won't work. Even if you're sitting there going, yeah, probably this won't work. Step into it anyway. And you might. Well, the episode is titled Lucky You. You might be lucky enough for it to work. But action is a prerequisite for luck. I know exactly what thing I want to say. I've got a picture of it. Kamigawa. Bam! Kamigawa Genji. Not everyone who works hard is rewarded. However, all those who succeed have worked hard. And that might not be true in the Cyberpunk universe, because there are a lot of people who are just resting on their laurels and not working hard, it seems. But the way that it should be, and the way that it appears to be in our real world, is that if you really want to succeed at something, you have to work hard. And so do not let the probability of failure dissuade you from the slim chance of success, because the only way you're going to get that success is if you drive against the unknown, against the impossible. Fuck luck. Fuck fate. And what is Imaishi's idea there? What's the core idea there? Well, it's expressed. I'm about to pull it up so that I get the quote exactly right. Reject common sense to make the impossible possible. Listen, Simone, never forget. Just believe in yourself. That's the weirdest I'm sorry. I just had an incredibly intense emotional reaction to reading those words. Like, I very literally feel my nerve endings activate and my tear ducts like light up. Just to say these words. Just to read them. Listen, Simone. Never forget. Just believe in yourself. I can't even say it without... Just believe in yourself. Not in the Simone that I believe in. Not in the Kamina that you believe in. Have faith in the Simone who believes in you. If you're gonna dig to the heavens. No matter what's in my way, I won't stop. Once I've dug through, it means that I've won. Just who the hell do you think I am? I'm Simone. I'm not my bro. I'm me. I'm Simone the Digger. Smashing through both karma and fate. The screams of life echo across the galaxy. The likelihood of my return is close to 0. Maybe. But it isn't 0, and for me, that makes it the same as 100%. You're wrong, dumbass. I'll protect them. The girl, the universe, both of them. I don't want to regret doing nothing because of a tomorrow that might never come. That's the way Team Daigoren rolls. Get going, Simone. Just don't be distracted by the what-ifs, should-haves, and if-onlys. The one thing you choose yourself, that is the truth of your universe. Don't underestimate us. We don't care about time or space or whatevers. We don't give a damn about that. Force your way down a path you choose to take and do it all yourself. That's the way Team Daigoren rolls. We evolved beyond the person we were a minute before. Little by little, we advance a bit further with each turn. That's how a drill works. No, that's your limitation. You sit here closed off, locking away possibility. I don't want to spoil things. Like some kind of king. That's nobody's limitation but your own. Row, fight the power. And so I'm going to take my own damn beliefs because I believe. Because I believe. So here's what's up. Probably making all my videos free completely and eliminating early access from my content creation mechanisms. Probably it will end me. Probably it will ruin me. But there's a fraction of a percent of a chance that it might be the right way. And so that makes it 100%, and I'm going to make it work. So if you think it's worth working, if you appreciate real expression, whatever the fuck this is, if this video that I made where I'm bearing my soul to you means something to you, go and send me a pittance, $1, a couple dollars, and prove to me that this is right. Prove to me that I'm not a fool. Because I'm willing to be a fool, and I'm willing to die for my foolishness. But I think it might be right, and so I'm going to fight to make it right. Please come with me. And maybe we can make it to the fucking moon together. Let's go. Peace.